Please don't push me, but y'all push B. Now we got dwellers from Cali to Flatbush B. Now they got heat on they feet that say press B. And now we so deep in the streets, y'all can't stress me. Can't curse me, then bless me. I'm crucifying my flesh, that's less me. SAT from preaching, can't test me. Atheists are now believing, that bless me. Yeah, we got the basement replacing any of those worldly pursuits that y'all chasing. Any of those trials and tests that y'all facing. Any of the relationships that y'all changing. We rearranging, making the shame shift. Giving Satan back what's his, that's the blame shift. Rise up and walk commands, that's the lame shift. Cheat codes for living this life, that's the game shift. All on Yeshua, man, the rest is manure, man. I'm dying daily, so I rise up a purer man. Pressing B daily, so my sins looking fewer, man. Washing the blood, so my sins down to Superman. Yeah, so press B with me, and let's let whatever gon' be just be. Yeah, so press B with me, and let's let whatever gon' be just be. Welcome to the basement, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Tim Ross. Shout out to all of my dwellers from all over the world. I hope you're all doing well. I don't know exactly. Will just gonna step in front of the camera. Yo. Will's like, I'm getting on this episode. I don't care what nobody say. That is hilarious. Dude, that's so funny. Yo, shout out to Will. Will's in the building today. He helping us out. And he was so focused on doing whatever needed to be done that he was like, I don't care which camera's on. Somebody about to see my booty. I'm about to put it all out there. It's gonna be on. It's about to go out to the world. Man. That's craziness. Oh my gosh! This is the Abbott and Costello show.
Yo, man.
We are what in the ninja? What in the American Ninja is going on here? Oh my gosh. Is it because Tadashi's here?
I think so.
I couldn't even do a proper intro. I have never in my life, hey bro, this has never happened.
Ever?
Wow. Never in the history of 30 seconds. We've never had a 30 seconds that chaotic in 2.5 years. It was time.
Lord bless the pod.
Amen.
Yo, that's the best.
Bless what's left.
Yo.
Yeah. Yeah, leave that, because I mean, it's in front of my face. Yeah, I mean, it's hanging on by a thread. The whole thing is nigga rigged, but I mean...
But I guess we
can put some Scotch tape on it if you want.
Yo.
Or 2 staples or whatever, but we in here. Okay. Wow. Shout out to the dwellers. Man. Wow, we are live. This is just it. Shout out to everybody that's downloaded that B-Side app. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting this platform, helping us normalize vulnerability so that people are fully seen, fully heard, fully known, fully loved, even if they're not fully agreed with. That's why we exist. That's why we are here. And yo, Discord, so Discord is my favorite because their gift game is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's on point.
Yeah,
bro.
Somebody put the Men in Black zapper, like we just going to erase that 30 seconds of chaos, and that way everybody's going to be all right. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I have a guest with me today. He just pulled up to the crib, and I'm so grateful that he did. And listen, your voice has been in this house for years.
Wow.
My boys put me on to everybody.
Yeah.
And years ago, bro, I think the first song that I ever heard from you was Riot.
Yeah.
And from Riot on, it was like, Daddy, you ain't up on game. Let me make sure you get put up on game.
Yeah.
Cause I rapped growing up.
Yeah.
Then got saved. battle rapped for a little bit more, and then it was gospel music.
Yeah.
John P. Key. I just went back to the roots of where I came from.
He was like, that's where I gotta go.
And then my boys was like, do you know this person? Do you know this person? Do you know this person? And embarrassingly, I didn't, because I just where I cut off was cross movement.
Cross movement, yeah.
When they like first came out, and then I hadn't heard nothing since, and that's only because I'm an introvert and I didn't know.
Right,
bro.
Right.
As soon as them boys put me on, and they were young. I mean, he's 16 now. But, I mean, they wasn't even in double digits yet.
Right.
And bro, so ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
let me properly introduce to some, present to others, one of the coldest rappers that you'll ever hear, an OG of 116. Is Houston where you're from?
Yeah, the Houston area, yeah.
Like you do Houston right. You do Houston right. The Houstonians should be proud to call you their own. Ladies and gentlemen, Tadashi is in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go!
Let's go.
Thank you for appearing on the most chaotic episode,
Bro, look,
that we've ever had.
I am honored. Trust me, I'm honored, bro. And then, the chaos just shows the reality of it, the realness of it.
Oh, bro, we don't hide none of that.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I welcome that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, this is in our house.
I love that. And
We
then
got to wait on this table.
Yeah, to
because if
hold
we
it
take
out,
that off,
the mic's folded.
It's gonna fold.
For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
And then I love how when the screen fell, I was like, please don't hit him in the head. Please don't hit him. And it missed him.
Yes.
It missed him.
Yes.
But it was so funny to him. He just laid there. I was like, he needs this moment. Most people would have been like, hey, you got to move. We're doing it right now. It's on.
Yeah, no, we don't do none of that.
He just said, I got to take this moment.
Yeah.
And he just
But
laughed.
lay here
bruh.
and bask in this.
And I wish people could have saw the humor, the joy that he felt in that moment. Like from his gut. He was just...
That's exactly what it was.
I was like, yo, man. So instantly, after all of that, I was like, all right, I'm relaxed. I'm
straight.
comfortable. I'm
Exactly.
super good.
Yeah.
I'm super good.
If we don't take that seriously, everything else is... It's up from
bro,
here.
It's up from here,
Yeah,
man.
it's up from here,
I'm
bro.
super good.
Yeah,
So,
man.
Man, that's so funny, bro.
Yo, thank you so much for being here.
Man, I'm honored. Thank you.
And there's a lot of people that may know of you, but I always love my first time guests to just give us some backstory.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you wind up reaching the type of success you have reached, people think you've been there a long time, or you came out like that.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
People still believe in overnight successes.
Yes.
And it's like, that's a delusion.
That's not it.
No one's ever overnighted anything.
No.
Except a FedEx package.
Exactly.
Right? So,
Exactly.
like, where is Tadashi from? How did Tadashi get to who he is now?
Yeah, man. So the long and short of it, Texas native, born in East Texas in a town called Lufkin, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
My whole family originates from East Texas.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Mount Enterprise, Chisholm.
Stop.
You know where Mount Enterprise is?
Yes.
Most people don't know where Mount Enterprise is.
Stop, bro.
Yeah, no, for real. I usually have to say Timpson, or somewhere else for them to know. But
around that area.
Mount Enterprise.
Oh, I know Mount Enterprise.
Yeah, bro, that's where we all come from.
I used to go to revivals and family Sundays in Mount Enterprise.
What?
Yeah. I had a cousin that lived there, but we had family but friends as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Bro. So
there had to be some Rosses, Thompsons, or Bryants around there,
Bryants
bro.
and Thompsons. Yeah,
That's my family, bro.
That's
where Lecrae come from. That's his side.
That's his side.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was
crazy.
There was a woman named Joy Bryant who I used to know who
Yep.
was from that area.
Yep.
And I would hang with her. But like, bro, there's so many people from East Texas that I know where it is, bro.
That's crazy.
Born in Lufkin. My mom was from a small town called Groveton, Texas.
Okay.
We lived outside of Groveton in Trinity County. Lived in Trinity. And so eventually I ended up in the Trinity Huntsville area.
Okay.
Where Sam Houston State is.
Yeah.
For most people, they don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So because Houston's only 40 minutes away, I'm
Right.
like, I'm from the Houston area.
Got you. I
So
understand.
that's how it makes sense for people.
Yeah.
But
Same thing with Dallas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, when I first started doing music and eventually like got into everything, I left. I was living in Houston when it all went down.
Got you.
So Houston always felt like home or my future home. It was gonna be that.
Yep.
But growing up there, I leave, I graduate, I go to college. I went to Baylor, start playing ball at Baylor, and Baylor is where I came to know the Lord.
Got you.
Leave Baylor after getting injured, couldn't play sports, so I was like, well, I'm done
What
with
position
college.
did you play?
Defensive end.
Got you.
And I was like, I'm done with college because I don't have sports no more.
Right.
So I leave college, I go back home, and after a couple years of working, I was like, nah, I need to get a degree. Like working without a degree ain't gonna.
Got you.
That ain't gonna be.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's not gonna happen. And I eventually move up to this area, North Texas, and start attending the University of North Texas, and that's where I meet.
It's right up the street.
Yeah, and that's where I meet Cray. That's where I meet Show Baraka, and we were all just friends, just kicking it. And eventually, we started working and doing music together. And that thing of overnight that you spoke about, I feel like people think that because when they get introduced to you, they get introduced to you based on something you've done.
Correct.
Not where you come from.
Correct.
So because they see something that you're doing,
Right.
and they attribute success or their definition of success matches what you're doing,
Right.
they just assume you've always had that.
Right, for
I'm
sure.
like, nah, that ain't been it, bro.
Yeah.
Like we was in the trenches.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just, one day I'm gonna start doing music.
Right.
Like for me, at the time of starting to do music, I was on staff at Denton Bible Church.
Wow.
I was doing college ministry, and I was looking to do it full time while I was gonna go be a teacher or something.
Yeah.
All my family, they're educators, military, or both.
Yep.
So that was gonna be my world, and music showed up.
Wow.
Yeah.
We were just looking at churches last night,
Really?
and in this area, because I told my wife I haven't been a part of a local church since I left Cali, and Denton Bible
Yeah.
was on that list.
Yeah. Yeah,
Good
yeah.
church.
Denton Bible is a Bible teaching church.
Yep.
And mind you, I haven't been to Denton Bible in over a decade.
Right, for sure.
But as far as I know, it's still a very white church.
Yeah. Okay,
So-
got you. Understood.
So
Understood.
that experience, your service experience,
Yep.
will be filtered through
Got you.
the white experience.
Yeah, I already had that.
Yeah.
I had that at Gateway. I'm good.
Yeah, that's what I felt. I was like, oh yeah, I'm good. We can be friends.
Yeah,
We can be
absolutely.
friends,
We
but
can.
I'm good.
Why can't we be friends?
Yeah,
Why
that's
can't-
right.
Okay, so when did you actually start rapping though?
While I was here.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you hadn't
No.
put pen to paper, nothing.
No. So what happened for me?
crazy.
What happened for me when I was at Baylor? My first time to ever try to rap, I was in high school.
Okay.
And people were sitting around in a cypher freestyling.
Yeah.
And I was like, just enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
And then someone was like, Tadashi, it's your turn.
Right.
And I was like, I don't do this. I don't do this.
Right.
But there were girls around.
Yeah.
And I was
Well,
like,
we ain't gonna go out in front of the girls.
I can't fall short here now.
Absolutely.
So I just started putting stuff together.
Yeah.
And the nervous energy, the anxiety around it, the excitement, something happened and came out. And when I was done, everybody was like, oh, and I was like,
Wow.
what just happened? I don't even know what I said.
Wow.
But I think it was just one of those moments where, it's high school. Like, as long as you can put some words together that
sure.
make sense for people, that you did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was my first attempt. But that experience made me go, I want that again. I should try that again. Pretty soon, I'm in college, and the guy who led me to Christ, talked me into doing a talent show.
Okay.
Once I freestyled at one time, I just kept trying to freestyle over and over and over.
for sure.
Make up stuff over and over and over.
Yep.
And he was like, man, you should write stuff down and actually, but rap about like your faith now. You should rap. And I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I can't.
Right.
You don't get a girlfriend rapping about God. Like that was my thought in college.
That's not the formula.
That's not the formula. I'm a freshman in college. I'm playing football. I'm on the track team. The last thing I want to do in front of all, because it was an AKA talent show. Last thing I wanted to do in front of all these Greeks is get up and rap about God.
Right.
No, sir.
Right.
He but he was the one that led me to to who the Lord was, like new life. And I was like, he had a sway like none other.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I was like, all right, man, I'll do it. And that was my first time to ever put pen to paper.
Wow.
And it was horrible. It went horribly. out of 7 people, I got 6th place.
Okay.
The person who got 7th because they didn't finish what they started. That's how bad it was.
So he could have beat you too.
So he would have beaten me. No, he would have. He would have.
He would have just got done.
If he'd have just finished it, they would have been like, all right, cool. He started singing and halfway through forgot and he left. He couldn't remember the words.
Yeah,
and he was nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
He was nervous.
But that's the worst kind, though.
That's the worst.
When you ditch the whole thing.
When you just quit.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the
bro.
worst.
It make it
man.
worse on you.
It does.
It make it worse on you.
Because he's a quitter to this day.
That's exactly it. He's a quitter to this day. So no.
No. But that's the way you remember him.
That is the way you remember him.
Like, he's probably successful. We hope. But.
No. He graduated from Baylor. He's
Okay,
fine.
praise God.
But he's fine. But in that moment, I knew it was bad. You know, it's bad when people speak about, when they speak with adjectives more so than like direct.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yo, man, how was it? And they was like, I mean, you was up there. They speak with location and
exactly.
mood.
Like,
and
man, you did that.
You did it.
You did it. You literally did that.
Man, you was saying some stuff. Oh, okay.
Okay. I heard what you didn't say.
But here's the thing. I knew it wasn't good when I finished. I was like, this wasn't as good as it could have been or should have been.
I got you.
And to be fair, everyone, their standard of hip hop is what's popular on the radio, in their world, in their culture, in their city. So I was not rapping up to standard, to what they assumed was the standard.
Right.
So it was already trash.
Right.
But for me, it was. Looking back, I'm like, it was horrible.
Yeah, for sure.
So 6th place was deserving.
Yeah, for sure.
But moving forward, I didn't really try to write or do anything like that until I came to North Texas.
Interesting.
And I was just like, yeah, Craig, we would all stand around and freestyle.
Yeah.
And Craig could really freestyle.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm competitive.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, well, I gotta like make mine better.
Right,
I gotta
for sure.
like show off right now.
Yeah.
And so after freestyling for like a year, you know, on campus or after a Bible study or something like that,
Yeah.
it ended up that he was working with a dude to work on an album.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, you can really rap. I want you on my album.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want to rap.
Yeah.
And he was like, why are you so good? And in my mind, rap was like not certain. Becoming a coach, a teacher, going to the military, that was certain. It was like, I'm definitely gonna make a paycheck. I'm definitely gonna have insurance. I'm definitely gonna do something with my life. Rap, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But what sold me was I got to create something, and I was always a creative, and I got to do it with people that were friends for real.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a business thing. These were friends.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And I gave it 1 year, and I haven't been looked back since.
Dang, bro. You this image popped in my head when you talked about rap not being certain.
Yeah.
And I believe this goes for any creative outlet.
Yeah.
Whether it's singing, rapping, comedy, which I just stepped back into.
Let's go.
Art, whatever. It's like playing tennis
Yeah.
or golf.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're not talking about basketball. We're not talking about making a team.
Yeah.
Because some people will make the team just for locker room presence.
Yeah, bro.
Right? They ain't gonna ever be. Juwan Howard stayed in a jersey just because of what he meant to the locker room.
Yeah, no,
right?
that's it.
He was
Yeah.
never gonna break the gym
Right.
shorts off. Right?
Nah.
So it's like tennis or golf or swimming or
Yeah.
track, where
Yeah.
it's like, if I enter this, it's me against the field.
Yeah.
It ain't like if I could get on the team.
Yeah.
It's you against the field.
Yeah.
And if you don't make the qualifiers, you're not gonna be in the finals.
And to your point, and I think this is, I feel like this is what you're alluding to even more. It's exposing.
It is.
When your team doesn't do well,
Yeah.
you don't get called out as much.
Right, exactly.
Now, granted, I play football, I play basketball,
Yeah.
I did all this stuff. But playing football, if I miss an open tackle, well, they on my head.
Right.
But if the defense doesn't stop them, the defense
That's
didn't
right.
stop
That's
them.
exactly right.
So you kind of get a pass, you get a little bit of a scapegoat.
Yeah.
But with track, like when I did track,
Yeah.
with track, if you don't show and prove, that's on you.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
you are fully exposed.
Yeah, yeah.
And so music is the same way. Creativity, art is the same way.
Yeah.
I think the only difference is in sports, there are technical and fundamental things that you do.
Yep.
In creativity, there are fundamental and technical things that you can add, but it's still coming from your very essence.
Yeah, for
this
sure.
This is coming from out of who you are.
Right, for sure.
So it's attached to you in a different way. And so when I did field events, I did shot put and discus. And when I would do my spin for discus, I didn't come up with spinning.
Right.
I just had to learn the technique that somebody had when they created it.
Facts.
I didn't come up with hip hop per se, but I definitely have to have my own identity
Right.
within it.
Yeah.
And no one in track is saying, your spin looks too Russian. It should be more American.
Right.
Nobody's doing that.
Yeah, that's
Nobody's
really
like, your
interesting.
technique is this.
That's
it should be better.
good.
But with creativity, they
Yeah.
like, you just sound like a knockoff this or that.
Right.
So like because of my voice and because I grew up in Houston and because I was a super fan,
Yeah.
everybody was, when I came out, I was like, bro, you sound just like Bun B.
Right, for sure.
And I was like, I thank you.
Right,
I don't know how to feel about that.
Right.
But ultimately, it was like not as bad. You
Right.
have to sound like you.
Yeah.
What are you gonna be?
Yeah.
And so you're right. You end up being exposed.
Yeah, for sure. It's a different thing. Now, I'm very interested in it sounds like you entered this career from a place of like, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, very much
as
so.
opposed to, this is my desire.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I know what that feels like in ministry. Can you please, if you can, if it wouldn't be too difficult, articulate the liberty or the freedom there is when you don't have a mindset of like, this is all I was riding on, and if it don't work, then
bro.
I'm dead.
Yes, bro.
Because that's how I was. It based on what I hear you saying, it sounds like the way I was in ministry.
Yeah.
I was just always like, I guess God want me to do it.
Yeah.
But I was never like, here I am, Lord, use me. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, bro.
So like, did that change the way you could move?
For sure.
Throughout your career and
For
everything?
sure.
Yeah.
I think there's two sides of that coin.
Okay.
So on the one side, with what you're alluding to, yes, I did not have the same pressures or the same burdens that other people walked with when they felt like this was their one trick pony.
Right.
Ticket.
Yeah,
That's all they got.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was like, no, I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
I actually got into this for friend engagement, not people engagement.
Right, for
so
sure.
when the people are writing songs or trying to perform and they're wanting the people to, I'm like, nah, as long as my homie's cool with me, I'm good.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I never knew that pressure.
Yeah.
On the other side of that coin, though, and I think this is when you don't, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it, when you don't have that perspective of like, this is it for me, this is it for me.
Yeah.
I struggled at times to really own that I was a rapper because I didn't come into it with the idea that this is what I am. So I was like, I guess I'm just gonna have to remember I'm not an athlete anymore.
Right.
I'm a rapper now.
Yeah.
It took me 5 years to admit like, oh yeah, music is what I do.
Yeah.
Because for so long I was like, no, I just rap, but I do other stuff.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to own it or feel comfortable in that box.
Yeah.
Did you feel that at all?
Yeah, I did. Interestingly enough, I think it was longer for me.
Yeah.
I was 12 years into preaching before I was like, oh, I guess this is what I need to push all my chips to the middle of the table for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I think of identifying myself as something, that's one thing. But the buy-in, full buy-in.
Yep.
it was probably 10, 11 years for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I know I had been doing it, and I was 3 albums in, and I was like, I guess this is what I do.
wild.
I guess I need to put all my energy into this.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, and Craig, so Craig's always been a friend. He was a friend before we did music.
Yeah.
Craig would always say, like, man, it'd be amazing. Like, it's going to be dope one day when you finally put all your effort into this.
Wow.
Because he could see it.
Yeah.
He was like, man, I would show up and as if it was like a boot camp.
Yeah,
like, all right, let's do some music.
Right.
And then I would just be gone and doing life again. And they were like,
it was CrossFit for you.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
We're going to have an intense 45-minute session.
And then we done.
And we out.
done.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, here's the album. I'm out now,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And so there was that perspective of it. And so even though I had the freedom, from the angst and obligation of like, this is all I got. This is what I got to lean on.
Yeah.
That gave me freedom to create however I felt.
Yep.
I would not have created Riot if I felt the pressures of, all I got is this. It can't be anything. It can't mess up. I had the freedom to just go in and be like, well, I'm going to just do this.
Yeah.
I didn't care what hip hop was doing. I didn't care what people thought. I'm just like, I'm going to do this.
Yep.
I have probably my biggest song so far is Dum Dum.
That dum diddy dum.
Yeah, bro.
That song is a bop, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
So Dum Dum was a song that I chose to do. I got a beat from a dude. He was a producer. He's a producer named Jita.
Okay.
And Jita sent this beat in, and I heard it, and it was just a beat pack. And I heard it, and I was like, this the one. I'm gonna do this. But I'm from Houston. I'm from the Houston area. I'm Southern.
Yep.
I'm not West Coast.
Yep.
And I don't have a tone that's naturally West Coast.
Yeah.
So to take this West Coast vibe dance beat and rap on it, it was like, what are you doing? This is not who you are.
Yeah.
So the label was like, don't do that song.
Wow.
It was like, no, we're good. Don't do that one. That's not you.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't let it go because they had the parameters and the restraints of this is what we leaning on.
Right,
you
right,
can't
right.
do that. You're going to mess up what you already got.
Right.
And I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I was free. I was like, I can do whatever I want. I'm not worried. I'm not bound to that feeling that you have. That idea, that obligation, that constraint. I don't have that.
Yeah.
So I recorded it. And now I was smart enough to know if this feels awkward, like I'm smart enough to know just from a interacting with people standpoint, if I go to a place and it's weird for me to be there, then I'm gonna take somebody with me who is not weird for it,
right?
And they'll help ease me in.
Yeah, that's it.
So I'm like, I know to put Cray on this because he got a West Coast vibe,
right,
and it'll ease people into this with me doing, it.
For sure,
and it worked, and they came back later like, I didn't think this was gonna work, but that worked for you, and that song opened the door for the label to be like, do whatever. Like you already have the talent to do whatever.
Yep.
But now it seems you have the grace from the people to do whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And so again, on the flip side of that, I didn't have the buy-in on my own.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm not gonna give that much effort to it.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
was trying to do something.
Yeah, for sure.
Excuse me. It was like after Blacklight, after Dum Dum, after Riot. I looked up and I was like, I think this is what I do now. I gotta put all my energy into this.
Yeah.
And even though 10 years, 11 years is a thing, 12 for you, that time fly when you're busy.
It's true.
So you don't really have time to step back and take stock of like everything happening.
Yeah.
You just look up one day and go, I'm on stage a lot right now. Is this what I'm doing? Is this me?
Uh-huh.
So yeah. I mean, if you think about it, 4 years of college, 2 years master's program, 3 to 4 more years PhD. By the time you get done, you're like, yeah, I guess I'm a professor now.
That's exactly how it goes.
But you just got your nose to the grindstone.
That's exactly
working.
right. That's exactly right.
And then you look up like, I guess I should apply for a job at this college, university.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I felt the same way. I was like, man, I spent X number of years doing this, and I look up and I'm like, all right, for my own experience, for the people's experience, and clearly what God is doing.
Yeah.
I think this is it.
Yeah, for
this
sure.
What I do.
Your 10,000 hours was in.
Facts, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fascinating. I appreciate you sharing that because I'm a nerd for the details of like the nuances of how people got into stuff, and like that's I went through ministry the same way.
Yeah.
And am now out on the other side, but I think I think one of the reasons why I could also transition out of it is because of the way I got into it.
Yes.
So I did fully, like, I went all in.
Yeah.
And went where God wanted me to.
Yeah.
But when he tapped me on the shoulder and said, okay, I want you to come over here,
Yeah.
it wasn't like my whole identity is here. I can't do nothing else. I was
Right.
like, man, I only went all in because you just kind of didn't let nothing else work.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
This just kept opening wider and wider.
Yeah.
So I just reckon you was there.
Yeah.
And I decided to push all into it. But now I get to do this on this side as well.
Nah.
Yeah. And feel the same way.
I'm in that season.
Okay.
I'm in that season. So I don't have buy-in in the same way other people do. So just rapping all the time doesn't it. I know this is who I am, or what I can do,
Right.
but I'm like, I still hold it with an open hand because
sure.
it never was clenched. For me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just like you said, well, Lord, you keep making this happen. I guess I'm leaning into
yeah,
it.
for sure.
But at some point, I started to realize, like, there are other things that God has given me that I can do that I should be leaning into.
Yeah, for sure.
And so as I do that, I can see less and less music happening.
Yep.
But I don't feel grieved by that.
Yeah,
I don't feel
yeah.
bothered by that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I'm still doing music. Like I got a Christmas project dropping this Friday.
Okay.
I got,
dope.
Yeah, bro.
This Friday.
This coming Friday.
Oh,
yeah.
let's get it.
So I'm doing that. I got like 40 songs in the clip for all next year. Like just lined up. Like I have music.
Yes, you do.
But that's when I say my focus isn't there.
Yeah.
Like I got emails right now and I know I'm gonna get out of here when I'm done with you, and the label's gonna be like, by the way, tomorrow we're recording this, we're filming this, and I'm so on to the next thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That I gotta remember, like, oh yeah, but I do have responsibilities.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
But I'm with you. I'm like, I'm opened up to so much more now. I don't feel angst if this isn't the thing for me like it once was.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's public speaking, there's acting, there's writing, there's all these other avenues that I'm like, I know this is what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
now, have you already started stepping into those?
I have.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
The first step was voice acting.
Okay, great.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, bro. So
yeah, you got a great voice.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
So I went and started taking classes.
Okay.
And
Stop. Stop. I just want to do a cartwheel right now.
Okay.
Did y'all hear this, man? First of all, where we at in the chat? Who up in here?
Who up in here?
Who up in here?
You say we deep? That's
Okay.
what's up.
Listen. Okay, so peep game. I need y'all. If hopefully everybody just heard that. Discord and live chat. Let me tell you why this is important. So many times we will just rely on our talent.
Come on.
And we settle for being good enough.
Yes. Yes, bro.
Bro said, I started getting into voice acting. Not off the I'm Tadashi, y'all hear my voice, it's dope, let me in.
Yeah.
I started taking voice acting class.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Okay, I just continue.
No, that's a great point. I'm glad you highlighted that. So for anybody trying to do something different, what you don't tend to realize, and I started taking classes because I don't want to suck. Like
Me too.
I'm like, I don't want to suck at this.
Me either.
I didn't originate this. I didn't create it. I don't maintain it. So how am I going to step into it like I do or I know?
Right.
So I don't want to suck at this. But on the other side of it, there is a craftsmanship to this art form.
For sure.
How dare I walk into it disregarding
Yes, sir.
the things that people have done,
Right.
or the care that they take when they do it. I needed to become aware of that. I never want to, anything that I do, I never want to disrespect or disregard the craft.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you walk in as a student.
exactly.
Yes, sir.
And I knew music is not a one-to-one to
Right.
voice acting.
Facts.
It's not the same.
Facts.
There are certain things that have benefited me as an artist.
For sure.
Now that I step into this.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I have the right to walk into it. So
good.
DJ Wado is a DJ out from New York.
Okay.
I hit him, or I put on Twitter one day, like, hey, I'm thinking about doing voice acting.
Yeah.
Anybody know anyone that's doing this? I'd
Yeah.
love to pick their brain.
Yeah.
And he connected me with a guy who happened to be in Atlanta.
Okay.
And his name is Donovan. Donovan is the voice of the Today Show.
Oh,
He's
wow.
the voice of most BET things.
Yep.
And he's just a phenomenal dude.
Yeah.
But we connected because Donovan's also a hip hop head.
Yeah.
So when we linked up, he gave me the reel. And he was like, man, I'm grateful that you're willing to take this route, because a lot of artists I talk to don't honor the craft.
Wow.
They just come in thinking, well, my voice is nice. You said it.
Yeah, for
my
sure.
voice is nice. I have a name.
Yeah.
I got a following. You
Yeah.
might as well just let me in.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And he's like, that's not how that works.
That's not
how
it.
that works. And he said, here's the other side. And he said, this is what makes me so sad. People will come in doing it, present themselves with what they have talent-wise, but there's a technique to this. There's a formula. There's a way about doing it. And when these producers, casting directors, and execs see that you don't know that,
Yeah.
they know you didn't do the work.
That's right.
So then they start talking. Hey,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he famous, or he got a following, but man, people know him, but you know, he didn't really practice. He don't know this.
Yeah.
He don't know this, other than this. He didn't even know what a slate was. He didn't know what this was.
Right.
So pretty
right.
soon you're just like, he was like, you don't want to ever be put in that position.
Right.
So take the time to learn it.
Yeah.
He said, and it won't take long. He was like, I can hear now. It's not going to take long for you, but at least honor the craft and do it.
For sure.
Show respect to those who've already done it before you.
Yeah.
So I took classes. I took a year of classes. Ended up finding an agent in Beverly Hills and was represented by her for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I've read for some commercials. The coolest thing for me so far is probably there's a guy named Chaz Smith out of Cali.
Okay.
Chaz is he social media viral dude.
Yeah,
on
we
social
know
media.
Chaz.
Chaz is doing an animated series on the Book of Daniel.
Yes, sir.
And I'm reading for King Nebuchadnezzar.
Oh, then I already heard you.
Oh, bet.
I didn't even know that was you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm reading for King Nebuchadnezzar. And then the other thing, when the Rangers went to the World Series, I read for one of their commercials.
That's dope.
And so I'm just like, I was at home and not sure about what to do because I was holding on to something so tightly, afraid that I was going to miss out if I don't try. Like, I can't do that. I should just stay focused here.
Yeah.
And then followed what I felt like God was telling me to do.
Yeah.
Leaned into it, and now I'm doing it. So.
Okay, dude, we could get lost here.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
We could get lost here, bro, because I am acutely aware that when you've been doing something for a very long time and you've had a lot of success,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like there's more,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there is I don't want to talk about levels. You have to give yourself, I'll say it this way, and then if it's wrong, we'll just keep wordsmithing
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
If you don't give yourself permission to do it,
Mm-hmm.
you will not do it.
You will not do it.
Because this is comfortable. This is familiar.
Yeah.
This is already set. You already know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't give yourself permission to do it and you don't have the bravery
Yeah.
to get out there and the humility
Yeah.
to be dumb,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To be ignorant. I don't know how this works.
To say I don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It would be just easier to be like, nah, I know
Yeah.
this.
I know this. This is comfortable, familiar. I'm good with this.
And another Thanos snap of 5 years ago by,
Right.
and then you got deep regret.
Disappointment,
Yep.
heartbreak. The what if game starts.
Yep.
And that runs you rampant.
Yep.
Shame shows up.
Yep.
Yeah, bro, you're right. And so myself, I think for anybody watching, listening, like, when people say the phrase, it's never too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late to start over. It's never too late to do it again. I think I used to think of that statement as it's never too late to lose everything and then do something different. And I was like, I haven't lost anything.
Right.
Now, granted, it's not going to be exactly what it once was.
Right, for sure.
But nothing stays the same.
Yeah, absolutely. The seasons.
So as I recognize that there are seasons, I also recognize this is my opportunity to grow beyond what I am.
Yeah.
And to honestly, hopefully, embody the fullness of what God made me to be.
For sure.
Like that's where the real thing came in.
Absolutely.
And so from a purpose standpoint, I knew that I was going to be in disobedience if I did not pursue the fullness of who he made me to be. And when you say courage, oftentimes it was the assumed words of another person in my head. Not the factual, actual words, the assumed words that they would say. Like, yeah, they're not going to let me do this. Who is they? Well, the people that's going to say you shouldn't do that. It's wrong for you to do that. You're going to mess up. You're going to fail. The assumed words that they said, bro, would be the thing I had to be courageous towards.
Oh, so I can hear my life coach in my head.
Yeah, bro.
When we project, when we have those projecting thoughts, she would make us. She wouldn't let us stay at they.
Right.
She would get us down to my mom.
That's it. That's it, bro.
My best friend, my spouse, my who is they? You know what I'm saying? Who is the person you're intimidated of?
Exactly.
Who
bro.
is the person that you need approval from?
That's the work.
That's the work.
That's the work. You got to go there.
Yeah.
My mentor, she would say, who is they?
Yeah.
And then she would say, okay, so let's play it out. So let's say you do it and they're right. You messed up. Now what?
Right.
Now what?
What did it cost you?
But the way she plays it out for me is like, the question always ends up being, and then what? That's what she says. And then what? And then what? Well, I failed. And then what? Well, now people are going to call me a failure. Okay. And then what? And you boil it down to the reality of, I'm still alive.
That part.
I did not lose any value.
Right.
I am capable of still doing what I was doing.
Yep.
You didn't lose anything. The fear is lying to you. The assumed words of others are hindering you from seeing the truth that you are still okay. And her teasing that out to that point always benefited me. So it's the who and the what.
Yeah.
Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Well, and then what? And then what?
Yeah.
So I just went for it.
Yeah.
So where I am now, I do voice acting. I'm working on a reel for on-camera acting.
Great.
And stage. I'm October. This is October.
Yes, sir.
So November-ish is the plan. Like, I've been planning it out, but
Yep.
November-ish, going into December is when I start auditioning for stuff.
Great.
And then beyond that, the other side of everything, I've been a communicator since as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
6th grade was my first time to do a public speech, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Everybody else was nervous, and as soon as I got behind the podium, the first thought I had was like, they got to listen. They got to listen. But the next thought was, this is so invigorating to me.
Yeah.
So I started doing public speaking. I was doing competitions. I was working and doing working with a team of people, and we would just go around and speaking at schools, or we would speak at organizations, Lions Club, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then when I became a Christian, I went to my mom's pastor in East Texas, and I was like, hey, man, I got saved in college, and I think God wants me to speak.
Yeah.
And so after 2 years of being with him, I got ordained in the Missionary Baptist Church,
Yep.
started preaching.
Yep.
And so speaking was always a part of my life. When I moved to North Texas, it was to finish my degree.
Right.
And I was doing college ministry on the side.
Mm-hmm.
But when ministry in black and white churches flesh itself out differently.
Correct.
In my experience.
Yeah, they do.
When I started doing college ministry at Denton Bible, you're not everything.
Right.
You're a component of something.
Right, correct.
At the Missionary Baptist Church, it was 2 of us.
Right.
You everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
so I was only doing outreach. So I wasn't necessarily on stage all the time speaking, but I would at times. But I was more outreach. We're going to go cast a net on campus.
Right.
You're going to bring them all in. We're going to bring them to the service. We're
Yep.
going to get them involved.
Yep.
And so before long, I found myself doing more evangelism than just proclamation.
Gotcha.
But beyond that, music showed up.
Yeah.
So the preaching started to happen from the stage in between songs.
Right.
So from young age up to now, I've always been a communicator.
Yeah, for sure.
And I felt the conviction of like, I should be doing that.
Gotcha.
I should be moving into that.
Yep.
But again, well, what are they going to say?
Yeah.
They don't know that.
Right.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Right.
And I'm leaning into it.
That's good.
So I started meeting with a person who's helping with, they're helping refine what I do.
Yep.
And I say it with boldness more so than arrogance. I'm like, I know how to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm gonna lean into that more.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like more of a quality assurance check than like a, hey, I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
I want to get into this.
Yeah.
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 So I did comedy 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I started doing stand-up. Same thing. Like people always said I was funny.
Yeah.
So when I got to Dallas, I looked up somebody that taught comedy classes.
Yeah.
And the guy that I went to, Dean, shout out to Dean.
Yeah.
He used to write for Leno and DeGeneres
Word.
back in the day. Wow. So he taught us how to like structure funny and how to get. I had that more as a foundation for sermons than I had. This is how you preach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So because I got saved January 14th of 96. I preached my first sermon 5 weeks later.
Wow.
February 25th of 96.
Stop.
And it's been 28 years. Wow. So I'm sitting there getting this structure on formulas for comedy and was like, oh, okay. And did it for 2 years and then had an opportunity to start going to the improv regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And I had so much religion in me, I thought it was like Satan baiting me into a disconnection from God. Right. So I ran from it out of pure terror and fright, right?
Yes.
So 25 years later, last year, when I'm in Australia, the Holy Spirit brings the desire back to me. Like, it was like getting your toy back.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
You know what I mean? And so I did a show in Benton, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Dot of a city, right?
Yeah.
Went to Benton and did a show. Thought I only had like 20 minutes and I did an hour 4.
Shut up.
And
yo, bro.
yeah, it was
You out of not doing this forever, you had an hour of material.
I'm not saying it was all good, but I was maybe I should say I was up there for it might have been immaterial, but I was
amazing,
up
bro.
there, right?
Yeah,
So I did an hour 4 and I'm like, I don't know what to do from here.
Right.
Well, my dad gets sick in January, dies in February. I have a book that releases in March, and so this whole year has been crazy. And then I'm in LA in the first week of September, and the Holy Spirit says, now, you got to start back now. So I get home I get home Saturday morning. I am at the Dallas Comedy Club signing up for a 5-minute open mic Sunday evening.
Wow.
And for 2 weeks, I am in comedy clubs fighting for 5 and 10 minutes, right? Name on the list at 9:30, you ain't going up to 11:40, and there's only 5 people in there, including yourself, right? And the janitor, he's already mopping,
he already cleaning,
right? And so, and then I told my wife, I was like, nah, I'm about to, like, it's time for me to do something, and she was like, okay, how? I said, I'm gonna just do it myself. I'm gonna just rent out a spot and I'm gonna invite some people, and if they come, I'm gonna see what's popping.
Yeah.
So my first show was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Tadashi, I have never been so happy to have felt that nervous. Bro, you know when you've been doing, you know this.
Yeah.
When you've been doing something along, and maybe you felt this getting into voice acting. I hadn't been nervous speaking in over 2 decades.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is what I do. Like, what? What we do? Who we here? It's 5,000 people. It's 20,000 people. It's 50,000. Well, this is what we do.
This is what we do. I'm just going to
you
do
know
it.
what I mean?
Yes.
And so I'm just going to do it. And there might be a little bit of, but your whole nervous system is used to this environment, right?
Yes.
Bro, if I had anything to boo-boo out,
It would have been then.
it would have, like, my whole body, like, I had so much anxiety. My lips was numb. I was trying to feel my fingers. Everything was buzzing.
Yeah, bro.
I had imposter syndrome. I sold out a show. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like you're a fake. You rented you ain't at the improv,
Right.
nigga. You
put your own thing together.
You
this
put
ain't
your own,
real.
This ain't real.
This ain't real.
You ain't. You know what I mean? This ain't
Yeah,
Comic
bruh.
View, fool. You know what I mean? You ain't Kevin Hart. You didn't fill out the Philadelphia state. I don't even know what they stayed. I don't even know what their stadium is. I just know it's a stadium in Philadelphia. Okay, you didn't fill out the Philadelphia stadium, right? All this stuff. And so when I got up, it's the first thing I addressed.
That's huge.
Hector introduced me, I was like, it's only 60 people. That's the only thing it would fit.
Yeah.
Fire code would shut us down if we got more than 60 in there.
Yes.
And I literally was like, yo, I got imposter syndrome, and I don't feel like I deserve for y'all to be here. And I just need to put that out. And here's the show. And I did 1 hour 42.
Congrats, bro. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing, bro. And then you got off stage and boo-booed everything. Then
I
he
didn't
was
go-
like,
bro,
oh, now I can release them.
I
was
did not.
clenched up the
I didn't
whole
go to
night.
sleep till 5 a.m.
I believe
I was
it.
up like this
I believe it, bro.
in the dark.
In the dark. Yo, man.
I was catatonic, bro.
I believe
But
it.
my body needed that.
Facts.
My body needed that. And when I went this past Friday, we did it again. I did 205. And
Shut
was
up.
loose.
Dang, man. I'm leaving. I'm like, I need to see one of these.
Oh,
Bro, so here's what's beautiful about this. First of all, again, congratulations.
Thank you,
I
bro.
commend you.
Thank you, man.
Like, I don't take that lightly. I don't want to just fly by that because that's the level of bravery.
that's why I
The
brought the whole thing up.
of
Yeah.
bravery.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it takes for you to say this thing that I don't know. I mean, that I don't do not commonly, that I'm not known for commonly.
Right.
This thing that I have not engaged with in forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
That's right.
I'm gonna do this.
That's right.
And then on top of that, to have the audacity to say, I'm gonna just put my own thing together.
That's right.
And then do so.
Yeah.
And face the intrusive thoughts of, well, this is just an imitation of the real thing.
Right.
You wouldn't have done well over there. You had to make your own
Right.
thing. This is your-
Yeah.
Bro, that lie,
Yeah.
that intrusive thought of those lies is real, bro.
Yeah.
You still did it.
Yeah.
And then you went back a second time.
Yes, sir.
I'm grateful you shared. I'm so grateful. Like, so one of the things that I realized, again, just because I do music, it doesn't mean that I should just have carte blanche into other areas.
For sure. Absolutely.
I started to realize early on, I was like, man, I know that I'm a speaker, but people don't know that.
Right.
So when I invite myself or offer opportunity to go to do something, they're like, well, who are you? Why are you doing this? Don't
Right.
you do music?
Right. Exactly.
So you do music. We're not going to do that.
Right.
And I've had to create my own speaking opportunities in order to present to people, this is what I do. Now, don't get it twisted. I've had opportunities to speak because I do music.
Right. For sure.
And that's when people are like, oh, man, that new song is great. Hey, you want to talk to the youth about this? You want
Right.
to talk to the
Yeah.
young adults? You want to talk to the singles? You want to talk
Right.
to...
Yeah.
Like, if the song is popping, then they like, oh, well, we'll let you in.
Right. For sure.
But just off the strength of, wait, you speak? This is what you do?
Right.
And no one knows my past. They don't know my story. So
Right.
they're just like, we don't know you do that.
Right.
And I've had to create my own. So one of the reasons I was here in town, I came in town to do some acting work, to work on my reel.
Great.
And then I was in town because with a friend of mine, I curated this event called Anima Nights.
Okay.
And anima is a Latin word that means soul
Okay.
or essence.
Nice.
And the whole thing was like, I want to do an event for creatives, but also an event where I get to speak.
Great.
And I'm going to share from stage. And the first thing I did when I got up, I stood up and I was like, man, I did not know. And it was at a spot in Fort Worth called Salt.
Okay.
Salt Fort Worth. It's
Yep.
a co-working space.
Yeah.
And it held like 50, 60 people.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm grateful y'all are here.
Yeah, dude.
I'm looking out in the audience right now, and I didn't know if people would show up.
The same thing with mine. Yeah.
And I'm telling them that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't know if people would show up.
Yeah.
I'm glad y'all did show up. I'm so happy that you're here. I had the same feeling of like before the game, we run on the field and break the banner. We all
Right.
run
Yeah,
through
yeah,
the paper.
for sure.
That's how I felt on stage. And I'm telling them this, and I'm like, I just didn't know if people were going to show up. And I'm so grateful you did. And that for me was like confirmation of I should be doing this more.
That's right.
More so than let me wait on someone to do it for me.
Right.
So I'm like, nah, I just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So you saying what you're saying, it really is. It fires me up. It encourages me, bro.
I'm
So
glad, bro.
I'm grateful you shared that.
Hey, bro. So I'm about to double down on it, right?
Come
I'm about to put some more down payment on this encouragement.
Yeah.
So I've been a part of a leadership cohort for 7 years.
Wow. Okay.
We meet once a month on a Tuesday for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for 7 years.
Yeah.
So my life coach Nancy who must have some special relationship with the Holy Ghost. That I don't know what she do. I don't know if she get up at 3 and have tea with the fine spirit or what. But bro, she's every month she winds up just, it's something I'm going through or something that the Holy Spirit's preparing me for, something. But her whole thing, the whole intro was like, God, she just started off Genesis 1. What's the first thing we know about God? He created. She said, all of you all that are sitting at this table were put here to create something.
That's real, bro.
And whatever it is that he's called you to create, you have to create your arena. You have to create your own arena so that you can put what he's deposited in you on display. It's up to you to do that. That is nobody. Now, I had already booked. Dude, this is a basement of an Italian restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is that's where I'm performing, in the basement of an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, man.
Okay, 11 minutes from my house in the Denton Square.
Wow.
Graffiti pasta.
Wow.
Okay, it's right. You've been in that hood.
I have.
You're right.
Oh, I know.
You've been all around there, right?
I know.
So I'm sitting up there, listening to her confirm the faith move I've already enacted, and I'm just like, wait a minute, what's going on? And she's just sitting there as calm as she is, in her upper 60s, just going, yeah, guys, you got to create your own arena.
Wow.
You cannot wait for somebody. You cannot wait for others. If this is what God has given you to do, you must put your art on display. Wow. And your audience will come to you. But you have to create your own arena, and you have to put on your own exhibition, and your audience will come to you.
That's huge.
Bro, I said,
come on.
Say less, man.
Right.
We out here.
We outside. I'm going.
We out here.
Yes.
And so before it is very much the despise not the day, right? Them 60 people,
come on, bro,
are gonna be the people that go, oh y'all went to the 2000. We remember, right? We remember Salt. Bro. We remember the basement of graffiti pasta.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, y'all just got put on 2 years later.
Bro.
But again, because nothing's overnight, ain't nothing starting off with Tadashi speaking and it sold out 3,000 people at the such and such amphitheater, and you should have got your tickets 2 months ago.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Don't nothing start out like that?
No, at all, bro. At all. And the other side of it is, you that gift, that's morphine, that's yo, that's my vibe right now. That's my feeling. Internally, I'm like that little baby. Yes, that's how I feel. Yo,
yeah.
Yo, shout out Nancy. Her name's Nancy.
Nancy Houston.
Shout out Nancy.
Nancy Houston.
Nancy Houston. Come on, bro.
Salute. Okay.
Salute. Like, shout out Nancy. The whole time I'm over here like flesh and blood. Didn't I reveal this to you, Nancy?
It didn't.
Man, I felt so. Who are you to start your own thing?
Yeah, bro.
Who are you to think you can create a thing and do it?
Yeah.
My heart has always been to collaborate, and I'm always gonna think the best about a person because I desire relationship. I'm a connector. I like relationship.
For sure. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what I started to learn was the longer I wait on another person, the longer it won't happen. And when I'm mature, I know that it's not always malicious. But in my immaturity, I'm like, oh, so you just don't care. Like, now I'm dealing with a whole different issue because of this other thing that I did. When all the while it was on me.
Right.
I chose to wait on you. I chose to think that you were going to do it with me or for me. So I just had to start doing it on my own. I was like, all right, I have to go out here and just start creating. So when I decided to do that, this event came about. And the whole thing about Anima Nights is creatives create from the essence of who they are.
Right.
And at the same time, because of the world we live in, every creative, because of social media and life, has to consider the marketplace. How do we do that? And so that's the whole point of it's the intersection of creativity and entrepreneurship.
Okay, you're about to make me okay. Now I'm the baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's go.
So have you? Because you, when you're talking about intersectionalities, have you read a book called The Medici Effect?
No, it's on my list.
Okay.
I have it. I actually have it ordered.
Okay, Tadashi, I promise you,
All right.
just based on this convo,
Yeah.
when you read that book,
Yeah.
you are going to spaz.
Okay, bet.
I promise you're going to spaz.
That'll be what I pick up when I get home then.
When I feel like I'm supposed to stand at the intersectionality of faith and culture and do comedy.
Yeah, man.
Like
Yeah.
that's where I feel like my line is in this season of my life, right? And so the intersectionalities in Medici, the book goes into this in some beautiful detail. That's where innovation comes from.
Right.
It does not come from the same trajectory. So I'll give you one of the examples that you will read.
Yeah.
The way that paleontologists, those that study dinosaurs, found out about how dinosaurs went extinct.
Yeah.
This is after they've been doing research and work studying this for 30 to 50 years.
Yeah.
And they're just thinking, they probably went extinct because of food supplies or whatever. It was an astronomer who took interest in paleontology that when he came over and started studying with these guys, he was hearing their theories and he's like, that's not how they went extinct. And they was like, well, what do you mean? He said, there was an asteroid that hit the Earth, which is nuclear, right?
Yeah.
It put up this incredible cloud. It blocked out the sun, killed all vegetation.
Yeah.
And that's how the dinosaurs went extinct.
Yeah.
And they was like, oh. Bro, they was like, yeah,
bro.
Yeah, that makes more sense than what we've been over here talking
Makes
about.
way more sense
Right?
now. Makes way more sense.
But that was never going to happen
Right.
with paleontologists in the room
Following their own journey. And
following their own journey.
Yeah.
They needed an outside.
Yeah, to intersect with them. No, I agree.
And that's
beautiful.
where innovation pops off,
Yeah,
bro.
that's beautiful. I can't wait to read that book, bro. I can't wait. Here's the thing, and this is what it's birthed out of for me. So my story is riddled with moments of hardship. A lot of people go through hard things.
Yeah.
But through the loss of so many different people in my life.
Yeah.
Stepmom, sister, my son,
Yeah.
my sister again, another sister, my aunt, my grandmother. Like she's my great aunt, but she was the only grandmother I knew.
Yeah.
So losing all these people, excuse me, a year apart from one another, I'm broken to my core.
Yeah.
I don't know how to function as a person. And when I finally come to my senses and sanity, and I'm able to, like you said, when we first started talking, when I got here, like I can finally kind of remember the year.
Yes.
I can kind of finally, once my sanity came back to me and I felt more grounded and I could see the world, when I looked up, every person who I was doing music with, who was a friend or was just a label mate or whatever, everyone had become a brand. They were no longer an artist.
Right.
They had become a brand.
Right.
It's been 10 years of my life I've been dealing with this. What's a brand? Where do I go with this? What do I do? So the more that I tried to figure this out, I felt like I was trying to fly the plane and put it and build it at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm having to do everything y'all have already had the time to do.
Right.
To catch up. And as I'm doing this, I feel so out of sorts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where do I go to talk to somebody to help me understand how to be a better entrepreneur and business person? Because now, based on how the world works, they have put all of the it's the beauty of access and it's the terrifying part.
Yeah.
The beauty of where music is and where creativity is now, it's all in your hands.
Right.
You can go buy a $200 rig
Right.
and make music all day.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Put it on streaming services
Yeah,
yourself.
absolutely correct.
No more distribution deals
Right.
needed, all of that.
Yeah.
But the responsibility is all in your hands
Right,
too.
for sure.
There's no one else to help you.
Right.
So when I looked up, I was like, man, the world shifted and it went from someone else doing that to now it's all in my hands.
Right.
And that's cool, but where do I go to learn how to manage this now?
Right.
And there was nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And I just had to keep learning on the fly, picking up this there, picking up this here. And what I learned was unless you have a natural inclination and aptitude for certain things, you got to actually stop what you were doing to go learn that thing.
Facts.
So Anima Nights was born out of that idea of like, hey, where can we put together an event where we can have intersectionality in that regard,
Yeah.
where people can bring their true self to this and still evolve as a person when it comes to business, or come in as a business person but want to be creative and learn how to be creative to make the two make sense.
You're literally doing Medici.
Right.
You're
Oh,
literally
wow.
doing what the Medicis did.
Bro, and my hope is out of that, you have people who end up feeling more secure in what they're doing.
Right.
And more responsible overall. Like, that's the hope. But,
Yeah.
but bro, I didn't see it. So I
Yeah.
was like, well, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm hoping that it goes even better.
Yeah.
But it gives me an opportunity to help people in
Yeah.
ways that I wasn't helped.
Yeah.
But it gives me a chance to speak.
Yeah, for sure, bro. That's what you want. Bro, so the first 2 weeks I was doing open mics, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks, several open mics, 25 minutes total. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there,
Yeah.
10 minutes here.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 right? 25 minutes total in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The last 2 weekends, I've done my own sets.
Yeah.
3 hours and 50 minutes.
That's real. That's real. And the other things are still available to you if you so desire them. But what you're getting by building your own, you would never get from
I would
them.
never get from them.
You'll never get
They
it.
would never let me have it.
Nah.
They want a
Nah.
real. They gonna have it next year.
They gonna have it.
And it's too late.
The funny thing is when what you're doing pops and blows, then they're gonna be like, you want 2 hours? And it's like, I don't need your 2 hours.
I don't need your 2 hours.
I don't need it.
Yep.
So that's and one thing we talked about at our event Friday, I was like, man, it's never the person who follows the flow that changes the world. Never. It's only the people who break outside of the flow that change the world. Whether you look at music, fashion, politics, civil rights movement, like you don't see anyone changing the world going with the flow, making an impact going with the flow. And going with the flow, unfortunately, from a Christian context, is what people define your Christianity by.
It's true.
Man, if you keep going with the flow, then clearly you line up with everything we agree with. You are safe. You are good. You're acceptable. But wait, now you're not going with the flow. Is everything okay? Oh, you must be off. Okay, we concerned. We don't know what you're doing. We don't know why you're over there doing that.
Oh, I live there.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. I know.
That's my address now.
Right.
That's literally my residential address.
So as I lean into like, I'm not going with the flow anymore.
Yeah.
Going with the flow would be like, all right, man, there's two things that I think about going with the flow. All right, well, I'm just going to keep making rap songs a certain way.
Yep.
Or, well, I've been doing this long enough now. Going with the flow is doing what other people are doing and finding another career. Because
Right.
rap, I've done it too long.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do either one of those.
Yeah.
I'm going to be here until I kick myself out.
Right.
I'm going to do something different
Yeah.
while I'm doing music and break away from that pattern and not go with the flow.
Yep.
Because I recognize that's where impact is going to come from.
Yeah, bro.
No one changes the world staying the same or staying like everybody else. No one. You can't name one person who was like, well, I just did what everybody else did and I changed the world. No.
That's said no one in the history of world changers.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever, bro.
Yeah.
And so we esteem these people.
Yeah.
We herald them,
Yeah.
but we don't ever take note and follow that trend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mandela was not the norm.
No, he was not.
Was not going with the flow at all.
Absolutely.
And changed the world.
Yeah.
I mean, there are just people you name. If their name is big to you, when you name them, you're like, oh yeah, they were doing something different.
That's exactly right.
They just went against the grain.
Yeah.
They did something different. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm a fan solely because of this. But when I think of people that changed the game in music, one of the first names that come to my mind is T-Pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, people can hate on auto-tune, they can
Yeah.
do whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
But music shifted because of this
The
man.
texture of the whole musical genre
Shifted because of this man.
it's good.
It will never be the same.
Yeah.
Now, one day it may go back to something different.
Yeah.
But it will never be the same.
Yeah.
He was a game changer.
Yeah.
Went against the grain.
Yeah.
And even when Jay-Z was like, we done with this.
Right.
it's still here.
It's he did try to pronounce a eulogy on it with Death of Auto-Tune.
He did.
And it didn't work.
And it did not work.
Lil Wayne came back out the next album like
week. Exactly, bro. And then what happened was, as soon as he pronounced it dead, Future dropped, and it was like, no, we like this.
Yeah.
We love this.
Yeah.
So,
call it what you want. We here.
You do you. It's dead for New York then. It ain't dead for us.
Hey, so I gotta tell you something that, like, you saying this makes me think about a conversation the Holy Spirit had with me. He initiated the conversation, and it literally it changed me.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. So I grew up on comedy, and I was sexually abused at 8, and comedy was the first. The humor was my first coping mechanism, right, and I could literally just find the funny in dark situations, and that just helped me not be like a crazy man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was you feeling something when I said that?
Man, yes. Oh my Lord, bro. I had this epiphany, and the next thought was like, I can't wait to talk to my therapist now. Like, I can't wait to tell Jennifer about this.
Well,
I want to hear your story.
Yeah, for sure.
I was molested when I was 9.
Okay, 8 for me.
And that was around the same time that I started really engaging music on my own. Music was my safe haven. It was the thing I had when I had nothing else.
Yeah.
And everyone was expressing emotions that I could identify with.
Yeah.
And their emotions would take me on journeys away from what I was dealing with.
Yeah, for sure.
Eventually TV would do that too.
Yeah.
But music was the thing. And you just hit for me like, why was music such a big deal for me?
Yeah.
And my mom used to sing blues. Like, it was a lot going on musically around me, but for me, as in my own identity, you're right. Like, it wasn't comedy for me, it was music.
Yeah.
It was, as soon as I could hear a certain sound, a certain flow, a certain singer doing certain words and runs, and I was like, yo, this is where I want to be. And so hours upon hours, just eyes closed, laying down with my head next to the speaker.
Wow.
And just not being where I was.
Yeah.
I'm away.
Yeah.
I'm finally free. Like the Forrest Gump, the movie.
Yeah,
when
for
Jenny
sure.
would pray, like,
Yeah,
dear
yeah.
God, make me a bird so I can fly far.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, yo, man, I am flying far away right now.
Yeah.
When I listen to this music.
Yeah.
I am no longer, and it didn't matter what kind of music. That's the interesting thing for me. It was like, one day it is listening to my mama's blues music.
Yeah.
Another day it is R&B.
Yeah.
Another day is listening to Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
Linkin
For
Park.
sure.
I'm like, man, I am not gonna be here today. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to get away, and music did that for me.
Yeah.
So
that's
thank you
beautiful.
for saying that.
That's
that just
beautiful,
hit
bro.
me, bro.
That's beautiful. I started rapping when I was 9.
Yeah.
My older brother's 10 years older than me, so my influence was East Coast because that's all that was out. Right. He was born in 65. I was born in 75.
Yeah.
And so all I grew up on, the first songs that permeated my body and my ears and my mind were all East Coast. It was Curtis Blow. It was African Bambaataa. It was Sugar Hill Gang. It was Melly Mel.
Yeah, man.
It was Slick Rick. It was all of them. By the time West Coast came out, obviously I'm from the West Coast. So it was like, all right, NWA's here. But it was like, nigga, it's EPMD on mine. Like, you know what I mean?
EPMD
Like I was you got to chill
And
more
to
than
be
I was F the police.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But to be fair to you, a lot of them early West Coast niggas was doing East Coast rhymes.
That's exactly right.
Over West Coast beats.
That's right. Absolutely
It's
correct.
just what it was.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Bro.
So but humor kept me positive. Or else I think I just would have been a dark soul. Humor just kept me so like uplifted because I could smile about stuff and I could laugh about stuff that was really sad. You know what I mean? Including my own stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I become the class clown, the whole 9, boom, boom. All right, so then obviously I grew up on the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to Bill Cosby was the cleanest comedian that you could listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
got to watch him growing up and
Yeah.
watch his stand up or his sit downs, right?
Right, his sit downs.
And Pryor was always like the anti-Cosby, you know, and so it's like you can never listen to Cosby
Extreme.
Prior until
Yeah.
you're 30,
Yeah,
right? You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I grow up conditioned like my Mount Rushmore. I always had, which is not even 4. To me, I had Cosby as my GOAT, 1A, Chappelle 1B, and then Pryor.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like just the way I was, because of how I grew up, right? I'll say it that way. Bro, this has all happened in the last 10 days.
Yeah.
This is how recent this is.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to tell you how recent it is.
Yeah.
We were at our employee thing, that little staff thing we did. That's when the Holy Spirit spoke to me. Was that last week?
That was
Or a week and a half ago?
so not this past Thursday, but the Thursday.
And so we're within
okay.
10 days.
In 10
Okay,
days.
we're within 10 days. All right, so what had happened was
Yeah.
I'm minding my own business.
Right.
I'm CEO and we trying to do the thing so we can get the company organized and figure out how we gonna close the fourth quarter so we can go into 2025.
Right.
And the Holy Spirit says 3 words to me: look to Pryor. And I said, and this is the day before my first show. It's the day before my first show. He said, look to Pryor. I had to write it down. I'm like, why am I supposed to look to Pryor?
Yeah.
Right? So I can't wait for the day to be over so I can figure out what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So I had a dinner that night after our meeting was over, and it was like by the time we ended to the time the dinner hit was like 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm in my car just watching Pryor. I download Live at the Sunset Strip, which is the show he did after he set himself on fire.
Right.
And then after that, the only thing I watched was interviews. Because I'm 49 and he burned himself in his 40s.
Right.
And so you got to hear the reflection of who he was after. Because after that, he eventually got off cocaine. He got off alcohol. He was sober and was much more reflective.
Yeah.
And now there was no drugs or no alcohol clouding his genius.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or warping it in
Yeah.
a sense. So I'm listening to him, and then the Holy Spirit said to me, he said, Richard Pryor died with the truth. Cosby is still living with lies.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And then he said, you are much more Pryor than you will ever be Cosby.
Wow, bro.
Because that man was vulnerable.
He was vulnerable.
He was vulnerable,
Yeah, man. Brokenness will lead you there.
right?
Yeah.
And so literally between that Thursday and that Friday night, I knew like my assignment is, because this is all we do on this show is like we're just vulnerable, right?
Yeah,
Like we try to normalize vulnerability. But in my comedy, it became, which I think I was there intrinsically, but I wasn't there consciously, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have a conscious competence of it. It was like, yeah, you can't do nothing unless you've personally felt it. You can't do no material unless you've personally been affected by this. Because that's just not how, you're not a joke teller, you're a storyteller.
Right.
And you got to have it this way.
Wow.
And bro, the difference it made between, now my first set was a tribute to my dad.
Yeah.
And so all those stories
That's
were
amazing.
They were bomb. But last week's set, I had, and I had never done this before. I only had 4 stories.
Yeah.
I must have did an hour 50 with 4 stories.
Wow.
Okay. So, but one of my stories was about bedwetting.
Word?
Because my trauma, my sexual trauma,
Yeah.
again, what doesn't come up and out of your mouth through words comes up and out of your body through actions.
That's right.
Bedwetting was chronic for me growing up,
Yeah.
from 8 to probably 15.
Yeah.
And I put that in the actual, that was in my set list.
That's huge.
And it went
Goodness.
crazy.
For real.
Like people at first was like, the hell? Like, what are you talking about? But And then here's the most beautiful part of it was when I first, because I there was no easy way to get into it.
Yeah.
And so I just turned a corner and gave everybody whiplash. I was like, anybody pee in the bed growing up beside me?
Yeah.
And everybody was like, what the, what?
Wait, what is he talking about?
Hey.
Is that what we doing?
And there was this girl, I locked eyes with this girl, and this girl was like this, looking at me. And I was like, anybody beside me? And she was just like this, and then she just was like, she raised her hand. Bro,
Wow.
only me and, obviously I had my hand raised. She's the only person raised her hand. I said, hey, red shirt, thank you for not leaving me out here like that. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like 4.5 minutes into this story about
Yeah.
the pressure, the anxiety of wetting the bed. And I was like, the only way I could probably describe it to people who haven't wet the bed is like when you butt down somebody.
Yeah.
And you look down at your phone and it's been going for 4 minutes and 35 seconds.
You like, yeah.
And you like, what have they heard? Like, you know what I'm saying? And depending on who it is, you like, what? And you like, hello, are they listening live? Okay, not. If they not, this is in their voicemail.
This is in their voicemail.
What have I said in the there's just an anxiety that hits you, right?
Very much so.
Right?
Very much so.
So I'm like, this is how I felt when I woke up. I'm like, when did this happen? How come nobody told me, right? All this. Then I was like, wait a minute. The stats tell me that at least 1 in 4 people have had some type of traumatic thing happen to them growing up. How the hell me and her just raised our hands? I said, y'all niggas lying. And the whole place bust out laughing. I said, y'all know y'all lying?
They lying.
You was going to leave us out here like this? So I redo the poll.
Yeah.
Over 70% of the people raised their hands.
Unbelievable. No, very believable, actually.
Right.
No, but that's wild.
I was like, y'all niggas was going to leave me out here.
Yo, man.
Y'all was going to make it sound like me and her the only people pee in the bed.
Oh.
I said, post diapers. How many of y'all
Right.
have let something off in that bed?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop playing with me. I didn't ask how long you did it, how frequent it was, but it was like that level of vulnerability has to show up in my set.
That's beautiful.
Or else I can't do it.
That's good, bro.
Yeah, bro.
That's good, bro. Yeah, that is very much, you said you were doubling down. That's very much so a double down
Yes, sir.
for me, bro.
Yes, sir.
It resonates with my soul so much, man. I can't, it's the reason I didn't go into hip hop and rap about Jesus, but was talking about fighting or drugs or anything else.
Right.
I'm like, real recognize real. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And I grew up around some crazy situations.
Right.
But I wasn't selling dope.
Right, for
so
sure.
Why would I talk about that?
Exactly.
And the same is true now. I've gone through so much.
Yeah.
It's what I need to talk about.
Yes.
I have to. And the number of people who come up to me now because I was vulnerable about the things I've gone through,
Yeah.
they haven't even been through the same situation. But because vulnerability is present, it invites them to be vulnerable. And now they're like, oh, well, man, I haven't lost a child, but man, my mom just passed.
Yeah.
And I don't know who to talk to.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah.
And it made me realize I'm not going to do this just because it's cathartic for me,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be vulnerable because no one really has spaces to be vulnerable.
This is all we trying to do.
That's beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
I commend you. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. And I mean, I guarantee it was some people in that room who didn't raise their hand because they wet the bed as adults, not as children.
Absolutely.
It's like, I'm ashamed because he's calling me out on
Yeah,
something I did last year.
As
And I
opposed
was
to
so
me
embarrassed.
inviting them into the safety of, isn't this like the betrayal of your bladder?
Like, let you down.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's
dare you.
That's what I'm on. That's what I was on. I was
Yeah,
on the stress of, like, there's no way a 9, 10, 11-year-old can be like, oh, the reason why this is happening is because I have
At all.
trauma stored in my body and I haven't put the proper words to it so that I
Right.
could be released and my brain could start
At
healing.
all,
There's
bro.
no way a 9-year-old knows this.
At all.
But yet you being told you cannot drink water after 6, or you getting whooped.
Getting a whoop. I was just about to say, are you getting a whooping?
Yeah. So I told him, I said, when I used to get whippings, I used to tell my dad, aim at the bladder.
Yeah.
Because I'm mad at him too. Please hit this nigga for me, because you ain't the only one mad I keep peeing this
You
bed.
ain't mad at you. I'm mad at my bladder too. Punish the bladder. My butt ain't do nothing.
Yeah,
Hit the
exactly.
bladder.
Hit the bladder, bro.
Yeah,
Make
man.
sure all of your welts
Yo,
wind
that's
up right
hilarious,
here
bro.
on the bladder.
Dang,
Yeah,
boy.
bro. So that's vulnerability is when you create that safety, other people can create theirs.
Very much so.
Yeah,
Very much so.
And to your point, it ain't got to be the same thing.
Mm-mm.
You sharing yours makes them reflect on whatever loss means to them,
Exactly.
and then they dive into that. So that's a beautiful thing.
I commend you, bro.
Thank you, man.
You open the door for them later to have conversations.
That's right.
That they're definitely gonna have.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be about the funny, but it's also gonna be about the story in that brought about the funny.
That's right.
And they're gonna be able to share that
Yeah.
in a real way. And other people are gonna hear it.
Yeah.
And it just vulnerability begets more
It
vulnerability.
does.
It
does.
just does, bro.
Hey, so I did a thing. What's up, bro? I did a thing at because the first thing I did, so I'm in LA when the Lord tells me to start doing comedy again.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were gonna be talking about this, but the first thing I do is go to the comedy. So I spend the next 2 days, 9.5 hours between Laugh Factory. Was it Laugh Factory? Yeah, between the Improv and Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
I spent 9.5 hours over 2 days in those two.
Wow.
Just to kind of like go back in there and be like, what y'all doing in here? Like, what's the vibe? Because I'm an introvert. I'm a homebody.
Yeah.
I'm never nowhere. So I'm just like, what y'all doing? So I get in there, and there was very few comics that had material. A lot of them was just doing crowd work, and it seemed to be disproportionate to me. It would be like maybe 70% crowd work, 30% material.
Right.
And I'm like, man, they're doing a lot of playing off the crowd. And I didn't grow up. That's not how I grew up when I was doing comedy.
Right.
I'm like, you came with material.
Right.
And the only time you lasered in on somebody in the crowd is if they was heckling or being a distraction, or they were just, something was so profound you had to address it, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm coming back into this. I'm an empath. I could never pick on nobody. Like, that's never gonna be a set. I could never be like, what you doing here? And how you your hair look crazy, and girl, you know what I mean? It cringes me to even think.
Same.
So I'm like, how am I gonna work that in? So I decided that I was just gonna ask if anybody had any questions. Like, I was just gonna do a Q&A at the end. And if there was something funny that could come from it, bro, I did that the last 2 weeks. Some of them wrote new material for me. Just in the, they asked a genuine question. I was able to answer the question, but then get funny out of it, and then be like, oh, that's gonna go with that.
Yeah.
And so the next time I do this, I'm bringing up that. But like, so people volunteer to get in, right? Because they're raising their hands.
Yeah.
But then,
So
even if
you're not targeting them.
exactly,
Yeah, you're
and
free
then
from that.
Even if we laughing about something, it's not at your expense.
Right. We laughing together.
We're laughing together at the thing and not you.
Right. Right.
So I ended Friday's set with on teaching my friends about white privilege.
Yeah.
My white friends. I had to teach my white friends about white privilege.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, man, this couple was there, and this lady was asking questions like, yo, she really wanted to, as a white woman, how do I really affect change with other white people? Like, this girl wanted to know. Wow. And all her questions was so specific. Like, what if you've already had the conversation, but they still disagree with you? I mean, she was trying to get to the bottom of it. And bro, it was like, oh, this is life to me.
Yeah.
Because at the intersection that I stand on, I want people to laugh and think,
Yes,
so that they
bro.
can think to laugh.
Come on, man.
That's
beautiful.
That's my little sequence. I want you to laugh and think, so you can think to laugh. Instead of, like, I look at what is controversial now, and I'd be like, man, ain't that humorous?
Right.
Because I can see the incongruity, I can see the hypocrisy, I can see the dysregulation.
Very much so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, and you know this, but once you start doing therapy, Caroline Leaf, Dr. Caroline Leaf said it best.
Yeah.
You start therapy for you, and you stay in it for everybody else.
Everybody else. That's money, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
And so I look at everybody else, and I'd be like, oh, that, you only spazzing out because you're dysregulated.
Right.
You don't know what to do with that trigger.
Right. Therapy has helped me to understand more people better, as well as be more understanding of them. Like, okay, I get you, and I'm also patient with you.
Yes. So here's my quintessential on that.
Yeah.
Jesus on the cross.
Yeah.
Body's excruciatingly broken, bloodied,
Yeah,
bruised, battered, and he's still regulated to the point that he could say, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they do.
Right. Very much so. Yeah, bro.
That's the Prince of Peace. That is the Prince of Peace.
Right there.
In
that moment.
In that moment.
In that moment.
You are the Prince of Peace. And that's the regulation I'm going for.
Exactly. That's beautiful. Yes and amen to that. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
I don't have a struggle with opening the door for vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
My wrestle, and I think this is where my desire to speak really does come from. I want people to learn to think critically again.
Me too.
The amount of emotional response in the moment, knee-jerk responses that people give because of how social media has taught us to communicate with one another is so mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that when I this is not for me to go political, it's just to use it as an example.
Yeah.
I no longer watch debates of any kind and call them debates anymore. These are public Q&As. I did debate in high school. I did Lincoln Douglas debate, cross-ex debate. I got to college and did Lincoln Douglas debate. Like, debating and presenting your idea for the other person to refute,
right,
and then give their reasoning,
right,
and then for you to go back and forth on and have a moderator who's able to facilitate.
That ain't this.
That's not this.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, for sure.
And critical thinking has gone away. And now it's grandstanding.
Yeah.
Now it's knee-jerk responses based on emotion only.
Yeah.
Emotion is great. You have it. You should use it.
Yeah.
But not only emotion.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I've been burdened to say, okay, I need to communicate because I still care about critical thinking.
Yeah.
And I want to process and look at something a certain way. But I relate to you because I'm an empath as well.
Yep.
So I can't get up and be judgmental of you.
Right.
And make it about how you're a problem.
Right.
I have to look at it as I want all of us to find solutions.
Right, for sure.
I see issues, but I want us to find solutions.
Yeah.
So that's honestly been the conviction for me. That's the burden.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I want to give people opportunity to find out who they really are.
Right.
And then think critically.
Yeah, man.
About themselves and the world around them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man. I have there's been some people who have questioned my, I don't know what word to use. Maybe I have to say it a different way. They've had an issue. They've taken issue with some of the interviews I've had.
Okay.
Because they're like, you didn't address this, and you didn't you didn't get to that. And but based on what you just said, I think their critique is coming from what they've been consuming and digesting. And
Yes.
I feel like God has asked me to steward a place where we create safety for people to give us the gift of their vulnerability, not to try to have a gotcha moment.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not
bro.
to be like, Tadashi, I heard that you was on a tour bus one year.
Yeah.
And, what's the dude's name that be interviewing all the artists, but he's people think he worked for the CIA, huh? Narwhal. This dude Narwhal.
Yeah.
He does interviews with people, like he'd be like, so your second grade teacher, Mrs. Johnson, said that you got to be on the test one time. And
How do you know who that is?
exactly, right? And they literally are like, yo, you got to leave me alone, bro. Like,
I
there's
can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it,
Be
bro.
like, hey, I heard you used to go to Bodega with Spanish Jose. And they like, how do you know Spanish Jose? You ain't supposed to know Spanish Jose, right? So they be fried out. But for me, all of mine are more through genuine curiosity.
Yeah, man.
Than a stack of cards. Like, I'm not Shannon Sharp.
Right.
That's like, man, tell me about You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's
yes.
like, I just want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah.
And if you're not being genuine, that's not
on you.
That's not on me.
You're not the genuine police. You're not the-
No. If the
Yeah.
story's incongruent, we learned something
we learn.
too.
We will see.
We learned. But to be sitting up here like, man, you was supposed to ask him about this, and you should have asked about that person's sexuality. One person said, you should have asked about that person's sexuality. I said, okay, you definitely don't know what I do on my,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
There's no
Right.
way,
Right.
there's no configuration
At all.
Whereas that would ever be a topic I would broach. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. There's some people need to categorize others in order for themselves to understand the world. They gotta keep putting you in places to categorize you so you fit their idea of the world. And their idea of the world is the only way they know to feel safe in the world. So they go, I gotta categorize you. So you need to make sure you're clear on what they are. Because now that you didn't make sure that was clear, now I don't know how to categorize you, Brother Tim. I don't know how to categorize you, brother. So now you're messing with, I enjoy you, but now you didn't do that. Now I don't know if I can enjoy you as much because you didn't, I don't know how to categorize you now because you didn't do what I assumed you would do based on how I had already placed you. So now I'm struggling with it.
Hey, bro, you just broke open the Pandora's box for me.
Yeah, bro.
As it relates to how the public is trying to reconcile anybody that attended a Diddy party.
That's it. That's exactly it.
That's what they're doing.
I didn't know that was how you were. I don't know how to categorize you. And there are so many things informing how they're supposed to be in their own mindset and world. So they don't know how to reconcile it. It's weird. And then here's the reality, bro. Like, you can't, thinking critically.
Right.
You can't logically think and believe, and this is not in defense of anything, but like behaviors that were wrong.
Yeah.
But you can't believe every party was a freak off.
It can't be.
That's not how life works.
No, it's not how life works.
And honestly, when it does turn to that moment,
right,
every person who's ever kind of alluded to an idea of being a part of it always said, well, you know, after everybody kind of moves around, then
that's right.
Then we turn to it's
after the club, there's an after party, and after the party, there's a hotel lobby, and
yes,
after the lobby, then there's probably you know what I'm saying?
Yes. There is this narrative that we create out of judgment that the entirety of a situation was just the bad.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, there were moments where it's like, oh yeah, we did a white party and all we did was mingle, network, talk, hang. And I say I was never at any of these. But
right,
I'm
right.
like, but you know
right.
But that's the thing, it's like that's all that happened.
Yeah.
And at some point you go, but because of the bad being the thing that is prominent right now,
right.
you tend to want to label everything as a part of the bad.
Because that's more convenient for my brain.
It's easier to do.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
just
have to hold
easier
tension
do.
that way.
And because, in my opinion, tabloid media only found more strength in the social media age. So we enjoy tabloid news.
That's insightful.
We really enjoy tabloid news. If I can find a way to find the dirt, if I can get behind what's really happening, now I know I'm in the know.
Yeah.
And in reality, you're like, no, even this person who we saw on video wrongfully abusing a young woman is still a nuanced individual, dynamic in his humanity. Not every moment was like this.
Right.
Not every moment was this way.
Facts.
Now, you can say these moments were so egregious and so wrong that this gives me a reason to say their character is this way fully.
Right.
Maybe I can do that.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
can go with that.
Yeah.
But to say the actions and activity of every individual at every moment when these things happen was this,
nah.
It's not critical thinking.
No, it's not.
not sound judgment.
Absolutely.
It's tabloid media.
That's exactly right. It's sensationalism.
It's sensationalism.
Yeah.
And you find yourself now having a conversation with a sensationalist who says, no, it's always this way. And it's like, well, then you've already decided.
Absolutely correct. And there's no conversation we can have with you.
And now that you've decided, now you're judging the world through that lens.
Yeah.
So when we say, yeah, I just don't feel like I need to bring up whether or not they were at a Diddy party.
Yeah.
Well, then I don't know how to categorize you either now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you might be a part of the problem.
Right, exactly.
And then here's where critical thinking comes in the most. When you get to the point to say, why does this really matter to your life? What does him asking that question do for your life?
Right.
For the good of your life.
Right.
What does it do for you?
Yeah.
And you realize they've really just bought into an idea of something
Right.
that they think is important because of whatever end result they're looking for.
Right, for sure.
There's no real reason for any of that.
Yeah.
Every person who's ever had a concern for me, at some point when I realize you want to correct or control based on your narrative of me, you ain't took one moment to go to my creator and say, "Oh, can you help him? Can you fix him? Can you change him?" You ain't took one moment to go to the elders at my church, the friends in my life, and say, "Hey, I'm concerned about him." What you did was jump in the comments. What you did was come at me sideways in a response video and say, "Here's what I think should happen."
Yep.
For whose benefit?
For whose benefit?
Even if you think you're helping other people, protecting them from the big bad whatever
Right.
you think I or anyone is,
Yeah.
you still only do it out of the benefit of what you feel is important.
Right.
And when it's all said and done, the only way what you want comes about is through affecting change.
Yeah.
You're not, those avenues and outlets don't affect change.
Absolutely correct.
At all, bro.
Yeah. I'll never forget when Preachers of LA came out and
Good Lord.
how much of a hot mess that show
bro.
was, right?
Yeah, for real.
And somebody, I think I had been pastoring a couple of years.
Yeah.
When it was out or whatever, because I planted the church in 2015.
Yeah.
So then some people was like, "Man, what do you think about Preachers of LA?" Hi, baby. Hold on, real quick.
You good,
Hey,
bro?
Hey, dude, I haven't seen you all day. How did you get in there? Did you walk past here? You went down and then came up? Come here.
I love that. He's like, "Nah, I don't want to interrupt."
Okay, so they had
Preachers of LA.
yeah, Preachers of LA. And so somebody was like, "Oh my God, like that show is terrible and it should go off and all that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
I said, "I hope it gets 10 seasons."
Right. Right.
They was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I hope it gets 10 seasons because they'll make my job easier."
Yes.
Like if they look at that
Yeah.
and then they walk into this church, they will know instantaneously, this is not that.
This is not that.
So they actually making my job easier.
Facts.
Like I don't mind it at all.
Right.
I've seen a whole bunch of people do a whole bunch of dumb stuff. The way that I help the people in my community not fall for the sucker stuff is to show them the real stuff.
Give them the real.
It's not to give them the address to the bad stuff.
Right.
Why would I use this platform to bring up somebody I don't like or whose doctrine I think is false?
Right.
If I already have your attention, I'm going to keep giving you the truth of how this should go.
Yes.
And then when you see the counterfeit, all right, so I was, my mom worked for the LAPD for 30 years.
Okay.
I wanted to be a homicide detective.
Got you.
So I've been in law enforcement or exposed to law enforcement, surrounded by it all my life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I learned, I memorized 2/3 of the California Penal Code when I was 16.
Wow.
I did all of the simulated stuff on the computer for that the cadets had to do.
Got you. Yeah.
When they entered the academy, I was
Yeah.
doing that as a teenager in between school semesters.
Yeah.
So summer school was all me putting hair fibers in a plastic bag and seeing dead bodies decompose.
Man,
and-
CSI out here.
yeah,
bro.
I
love
was
it.
on it all, right? I was on
love
it all.
that.
So in the FBI,
Yeah.
when they're training the counterfeit division, they leave currency. They leave two people in a room with U.S. currency for about 4 months. And the only thing they counting is 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, and 100s. 4 months. And they telling them over 4 months, spot the counterfeit.
Yeah.
They don't even introduce a counterfeit
Right.
for weeks or months. They just leave them with the real.
Wow, bro.
Then they throw one counterfeit in. Jokers.
Yeah. There it is.
This off.
Yeah.
Well, what about it is off? Well, the weight is the same, the color is the same, the texture, but some about it is just off. Why are they able to recognize that?
Say that, bro. Come on.
They just spent all their time with the truth.
That's it. So easy to see the counterfeit when you do that. So easy.
So I've been telling these people when it comes to these Diddy's things about like everybody there ain't complicit with Diddy or doing what Diddy did. Because a lot of these convocations and conventions that y'all was going to.
My Lord. Come on, bro. My goodness. Wow.
There was an after party to the praise.
Yeah, bro.
To the all night lock in, to the prayer thing, to the morning glory, to the.
My Lord, bro.
They had that was going on too. You was at the conference, but that don't mean you knew the bishop was. And you didn't know the general elect, and you didn't know the jurisdictional.
And the moderator and yeah, bro.
Huh?
Oh my goodness, bro.
You didn't know the church evangelist, right? Was over here with the do. So, but you was there though.
But you was there.
You was actually in some pictures. You was at that conference. But you being at that conference don't mean you was at the hotel room.
And you pointing that out does not mean you're trying to absolve Diddy.
No, absolutely not.
But people will assume because you're not doing what they're doing by only attacking and bringing people in, that you must be the one that is trying to make light of it.
No, I'm not.
I'm like, no, I'm not.
Nah.
No, I'm not. But if I'm able to think critically about it, I can say, hey, man, I'm smart enough to know not every moment was that.
That's exactly
smart
right.
enough to know not every person there was a part of.
Yeah.
And I'm also smart enough to know you've been in some situations with people where you were ignorant to what was going on, but would be seen as complicit if you use the same logic you're using in this moment.
Listen, how many people found out their uncle was doing something crazy?
Bruh.
Huh? This is your family. And you worried about somebody that was organizing a party?
Yeah.
Stop playing. You didn't know your granddaddy was touching you.
Yeah, bro.
Huh?
Yeah, bro.
So stop playing.
Stop playing. The amount of moments that I've walked in, like again, I started preaching when I was 23. Got ordained when I was 23. Started preaching and going to different things. And the amount of moments that I've walked in on that I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And back away like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
The way that it's communicated about
Yeah.
in certain circles.
Yeah.
The things that I was just talking to some brothers last night about how like there are certain activities that are common that people excuse because their version of God is different than the Bible's and they don't see that.
Facts.
And I'm like, man, you can't allow that. Why are you able to? But they've created a narrative that they think is all right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, we're all prone.
Yeah.
We're all prone, bro.
Yeah, bro. I'm glad you brought that up. I have, because God gave us this platform to steward, one of the things that I want to be a champion for as a survivor of sexual abuse myself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to I desperately want to champion abused people getting their voice back. Survivors getting their voice back. Because here's the thing, they're the only ones that can depower abusers.
That's right. That's right, bro.
Third parties can't do it.
Not third parties, not educated experts, none of those. Yeah.
Only the people that have been abnormally used
Yeah, man.
by the power
Yeah.
can take down that power by getting their voice back.
That's real. That's real, bro.
Because Cassie put Diddy under. Jaguar been talking about this for years.
For years. Yeah.
But she was indirect to it. She was privy to it, but it didn't directly affect her.
That's it.
And only those that have been directly affected,
Can
they're the ones that can take the power from you.
yeah, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
It didn't matter how many times this happened to all the people R. Kelly was with, until they opened their mouth, he did not go away.
He was still gonna be.
He was
out
still
here.
Weinstein, same thing.
Same thing.
Epstein, same thing.
Yeah,
Cosby, same thing.
Yeah.
So victims have to be empowered. And once they're empowered, that's when other people get depowered.
That's real.
Yeah.
So profound.
Yeah, bro.
That's really good, bro.
Yeah, bro.
That's good. Wow. I see the vulnerability here, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it for real.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, this we trying to help people. Yo, this is crazy violent.
Man, I can't stop watching it either.
Oh my goodness.
They need to scroll up. Hey, bro. So hold on, bro.
Shut up.
Hey, so this is too funny. If you scroll down, I don't know how far you're gonna have to scroll down. Hold on. You go a little bit slower though.
But I will say, I know he's looking for it.
Yeah.
T. Nicole been killing it on the gift game.
Has she? Okay.
She been on it. She been on it.
Oh, wait a minute. Keep going. Keep going. It's not the cipher. These maybe. Wow, those were a lot. Maybe. Hold on. Go down. Hey, David, this killed me. Bro just walked in with the first Bible ever made. I'm dead. I couldn't even let it go, bro.
Oh my goodness.
My boy Keidra walked in here with that. Listen, that Bible he walked in here with today. Hey, that thing is gorgeous. Yeah, for sure, bro.
Goodness, bruh. I saw it and I was like, man, is that a prop? Like, what is that?
Nah, bro, this is the real thing, fam.
Yo, bruh. Goodness gracious.
These are the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Right, bruh.
This joint is...
That's what the diocese used.
Bro, this is...
Yo, bro. That's
This was on my godmother's table. On the coffee table.
The one you don't touch.
Yeah.
Open to her verse.
Yeah, bro. Yo, this is...
That's epic, bro.
This is epic. This was your mom's? Was this on her coffee table? No. Where was this?
Somebody blessed her with it. Yo, that's huge.
This is 1872.
1872.
Dang.
Yo, shout out David. He saw it. I definitely. You walked in. I was like, that's a giant Bible. Oh my Lord. Okay. All right.
But the fact David saw it though, I couldn't let it go,
Yeah,
bro. I was like, this dude.
Yeah. He called it.
He I spied that joint.
Right.
This joint is
Just Roman numerals. Wow.
1872 American Bible Society. The original tongues, Old and New Testament, translated out of the original tongues, and with the former translations diligently compared and revised.
Wow.
Wow.
It's kids that won't be able to read that because it's Roman numerals. They won't be able to know. Right. That's real.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get stuck in song.
That's crazy. That's beautiful, bro.
Yo, this is beautiful.
That's beautiful. Wow.
This is beautiful, bro. 1872.
Wow.
And it got the margins in here. Oh, this is giving me full life.
Just the look of the paper.
Yeah, bro.
pages. That's powerful.
What made you bring this in here?
This is what I used to bring the word of the Lord.
Bro, you in full character. I'm about to pee on myself. I can't even deal with you today, bro. He's such a dork. He's such a dork. Yo! I can't even deal with you today, bro. You have to leave me alone.
Hey, man. Yo. Yo.
This nigga came in full character and I'm dead meat. Oh my gosh.
That's the Bible right. That's the Bible right there. That's Bible.
Oh my gosh.
That's Bible right there.
That is Bible right there. Bro, man, hey, you blessed us today, man. No, what Sammy B54. Yo, I'm weak.
Sammy, I'm weak, bro.
What does that one say? Hold on, go. It says something.
Got
up
the
top.
footnotes
Oh my God!
from Paul and Peter themselves. That's what
This
I'm
man
talking
loved
about.
this book. He read for so long while struggling to flip the page.
Oh my goodness, bro.
That's hilarious. I love it. Okay, locale. That's a dad joke. Go
Right.
scroll up.
Right, that is a dad joke.
Bro said, "Hey, Moses just called and said he wants his Bible
Right.
back." Oh.
That's a dad joke.
Nickelodeon. Yeah, Addie, there's bigger ones at the Bible Museum in D.C. Yep. Well, listen, you got to read the Bible.
That's real, bro.
That's just the
Hey,
Bible.
look, that's real.
I'm not dealing with you today. Oh, is your wife here? You're a dork. Oh my God, this dude. She's not in character.
Is this a character I'm looking at right now?
This dude is in a full character, bro. See, I'm dead meat, bro. I'm not sure. I don't even have context to why
It's happening.
It's happening.
That's
I will
hilarious.
find out after, but I promise you, this is funny to me. This is funny to me.
Well, dipped in the blood.
Dipped it. The socks have been.
Is he doing a voice too?
Yes, he don't talk like that.
Full deacon right now.
Full deacon, dipped in the blood.
Full deacon.
What's happening after this?
I
This
don't
is
know.
Okay, I'm like, what are y'all about to do?
I have no idea. I don't know if he got to go do a show afterwards or if he just. This is hey, Deacon, go get my friend Kedron and tell him I said that I miss him. No, that Bible that's a whole thing. Them the scrolls right there. All right, so let me ask you this: what are you musing right now? Like, what's the thing? Like the most recent thing that you are musing, whether it is, I mean, it could be like fly fishing. It could be like, I asked some people this question and they're like, I'm trying to make gourmet peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I asked other people this and they're like, I asked my friend last week, what are you musing? And he was like, the awe and reverence and fear of the Lord. I was like, well,
Okay, cool.
let's get it.
Let's go there.
What brought that on?
Right.
So like, what is that for you right now?
I am musing the idea of self-awareness and self-discovery in a real way, bro.
Please go on.
I've lived, this is my assessment of it.
Okay.
I'm the oldest. I'm a male. My mom raised me. And there was this idea of, you're not gonna be dumb out here. You're gonna be educated. You're not gonna be in no gang. You're not gonna go to jail. I'm gonna keep you out of that. But there was still this idea of behavior that had to exist. And from early on, I've realized maintaining a certain behavior, having to have a certain appearance always created a performance version of me that ended up being the version that I would bring out the most. So I recognize what it's like to come in the room with a character in real life. Like, I got to wear a character today, and for whatever the room needs from me.
Right.
It's not to say that people don't go in spaces and augment themselves to better enjoy the space.
Right.
I get that. Like, I know going into your comedy show like I'm walking into a corporate boardroom will be a disservice to what I'm there for.
Right, for sure.
So I know that you do have to make yourself fit the moment.
Yeah.
But what I'm referring to is I would diminish and almost belittle what I was truly to become whatever someone expected. And that performance remained most of my life.
Yeah.
And what it did for me was cause me to kind of wonder, when do I just be myself? When do I get to just be myself?
Yeah.
And if I do get to be myself, then what authority by which do I choose to do so?
Yeah.
Like who's under whose authority?
Yeah.
And I have never fully understood what it's meant to be fully myself in my own skin. A biracial kid, my dad's Samoan, my mom's black.
Yeah.
To be a biracial kid in the South who loves football, played football, but also loved theater, but also played in a band, but also was a creative, who was not going to fit in every space and was going to like what they liked.
Yeah.
And ultimately what I found myself doing was always trying to be a character for somebody else.
Yeah.
And then, as fate would have it, I end up being a performer for a living.
Yeah.
So now I'm not just a performer, I'm a performer who is making their livelihood off of performing.
Yeah, for sure.
So the incentive to keep the character up was there. Then, if I'm honest, being in Christian spaces
Yep.
as a person who's a performer, there's a certain idea of what you should look like and be. Not just as a Christian, but as a Christian performer,
Right.
as a person with a platform. And so that became what it was.
Yep.
And so honestly, in this season, because of therapy, because of one of my mentors, Tracy, shout out to Tracy, she's phenomenal. I found myself saying, well, who is Tadashi really?
Yeah, for sure.
Without all of the pretense, without all of the concern of whatever else is going on, who am I?
Yep.
And if I figure that out, I believe I'll be able to live with a level of peace that I have not known.
Yeah, it's good.
So that's where I am, bro. In a real way.
That's very profound, bro.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
That's and I appreciate you sharing it.
Yeah, thank you.
Because that is a journey that all of us have to go on just in life.
Yeah, man.
Like there all of us would love to believe that we've always kept it real. I've been this way.
Right.
But at some point in our lives, if we really slow down and think, however we had to survive childhood, whether it was good or bad, however we had to perform for parents,
Yeah.
however we had, like, even we talk about code switching as people of color
Right.
in the world, right?
world.
In a predominantly Caucasian country. I code switched with my parents.
Yeah.
I could talk to my dad in a way I couldn't talk to my mom. Then I
Yeah.
could talk to my mom in a way I couldn't talk to my dad.
And then I talk to my friends differently than I talk to my parents.
Right? So you knew how to get what you needed from everybody, and then I think we all arrive at this point, and when we get there is different. I don't think there's like a time.
Right.
There's just a season
Yeah.
where you're just like, I want to be integrated.
Yeah, man. Fully.
Yeah, I want to be fully integrated. I don't want to be disintegrated anymore. And whoever I'm left with, whoever decides to remain
Yeah.
with this integrated me, that's who's supposed to be my
That's
friend.
who's supposed to be here.
Whoever leaves, those weren't supposed to be. I would thank God for the season. I won't even talk about them when they walk away.
At all.
Like, I thank God for the memories, because everybody be like, the reason seasons lifetime, that I don't know who
Yeah.
started that from years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
Some people in your life for a reason, some people in a season, but some for a lifetime. And they focus on lifetime at the exclusion of reason and season.
Right.
When all of them is important.
All of them, bro.
And all of them could be like reflected on with like gratitude and beauty and thankfulness. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was just about to say the thankfulness of it.
Yeah, of like, man, that person was in my life for a reason, and if it wasn't for that person, I wouldn't be where I am now.
For sure.
They were there for that reason. They was never supposed to be lifetime.
No, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
That like, you saying that is like, that's my journey.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Yeah.
I am the me I am on this couch is, and the fact that it's public now,
Yes.
whoever that leaves me with,
Yes, bro.
I'm not mad at nobody that can't take it.
Yeah.
But I get to be everywhere. I get to be the same person all the time, everywhere now.
And that is the wrestle in a nutshell. Can I be myself everywhere?
Yeah,
Can I be that same person
yeah,
everywhere?
yeah.
And if I can't be, then I don't want to be there.
Here's one of the incongruities that I think a lot of people miss.
Yeah.
People think where if you're the same everywhere, then you're going to talk the same everywhere.
Right.
That's not true.
It's not true. That's not true.
That's not true. That people have literally considered me a false prophet and teacher for the way I talk on my couch, but they can't find one sermon in 28 years where I've come close to talking there like I talk here.
Yeah.
Because that's not appropriate.
Right. At all.
I haven't changed.
Right.
There's just some places ain't appropriate.
Yeah.
We know Obama. We know Barack Obama says nigga. We know
Yes.
we ain't heard him, but we know he says it.
Chi-Town and Newports let me know he said.
Huh?
I'm like, he definitely outside hitting the cigarette.
Right.
Nigga, I gotta go on this meeting soon, nigga. I gotta get in the meeting.
I'm the alderman in Chicago,
Right.
nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Y'all gonna respect me. But
yes.
that don't belong that don't belong behind the podium of the State of the Union address.
At all.
That would be
all.
inappropriate. That
that-
ain't keeping it real.
No, and that's what I was alluding to earlier. I had to learn the distinction between making myself appropriate for the space,
Yes.
and denying who I was to be able to be allowed in the space.
Two different things.
Two different things. And for so long, I wanted to be allowed in.
Right.
Whatever the group was, whatever the
Right.
thing was,
Right.
I wanted to be allowed in.
Yeah.
So I have to become the character they're looking for.
Right.
And now, because I'm in,
Yeah.
what I didn't know in my youth, now that I'm in, I have to keep that character up
Right.
to stay.
That's right.
And the more I keep that character up, the less I know who I am. And now
You lose yourself.
You lose yourself.
Yes, sir.
And now there's 6 versions of me for all the different places that I'm trying to stay in. And I'm like, I've reached a point where I realize none of that is real.
Yeah.
And I can't live that disintegrated anymore.
So this is what you just described is the reason why I think a lot of pastors wind up falling,
Yeah.
because Delilah's lap is only attractive to a person that doesn't get to be who they really are anywhere else.
Anywhere else, bro. That's real. That's real. Yeah. That's real.
Delilah is not even attractive to an integrated person.
No.
Only a disintegrated person is attracted to Delilah. Because once they curl up, they can finally just be like, man, I ain't even about all this other stuff.
Right.
I mean, I got to take this Nazarene vow, and
Right.
my parents want me to marry so-and-so, but I just want to be right here.
Right here.
And then you wind up getting your hair cut off
Right.
and losing your strength.
Right.
Then your eyes get poked out.
That's it, bro. That's
And
it.
your last feet of strength wipes you out.
Wipes you out completely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that. I'm like, hey, I don't want to be in Delilah's lap.
No.
So
Not
I'd
at all.
rather just tell y'all who I am, and then y'all can figure out, yeah, I don't like him no more.
Right.
Well, you don't like me integrated.
You don't like me for who I really am.
That's right.
At all.
You liked what you thought of me.
And so in my life, I have started to recognize there are people who will say, we rock with dude. We rock with dude. We
Yep.
like dude.
Yep.
For who I am now.
Right.
And they are okay with the ever evolving journey that I'm on.
That's beautiful.
I'm like, okay, cool. Well,
That's beautiful.
then you remain.
That's right.
You're here.
Absolutely.
You're
That's
here.
right.
And there are those who cannot.
Right.
The struggle for me has been when their idea of you is attached to your livelihood. And it's like, okay, well, if I go against the idea you have of me, does that affect how I provide for my family? Does that affect where I get to go and do what I do for a living? What I love does that affect it now? And knowing that it does, you come to a real moment where you like, I guess I just gotta be real because I can't keep being fake in this way, and trusting that the truth will set me free. All right, Lord, then show up. I need you to be here for
That's
real.
right. That's right.
And there is there's where that spot is where I found myself coming across the most conflict.
Yeah.
Because what's dangled in front of me is, if you choose to be that,
Yeah.
we're gonna take this away.
Absolutely.
This is gonna go away.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, I just gotta be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My income decreased over 50%
Yeah, bro.
in the last 2 years.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
And it's been worth it.
Man, look.
I wouldn't change a thing. I just literally just adjusted our lifestyle.
So income is being affected now. But what I saw first and foremost, I went on Instagram and I did a live and I talked about race issues last year. And I spoke about it as a concerned father.
Yeah.
I spoke about it as a person who's experienced moments of abuse and brutality.
Yeah.
And I spoke about it out of love and concern for parents who have lost children.
Yeah, for sure.
And those motives alone led me to say something. In one day, I lost 3,000 people following me. I looked up and I was like, the number has dropped dramatically.
Wow.
And the comments were like, you not saved, you don't love God, you not real. And the best thing that was the best thing for me.
Yeah.
I no longer, so you gone. I don't ever have to pretend for you.
That's right.
And who remains are okay with what I am.
That's absolutely correct.
And now I get to build from a real place.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like you said, it was the best thing that happened.
It's John 6, bro.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's John 6.
It's powerful.
Like this is my favorite leadership moment in Jesus Christ's entire earthly ministry is John 6.
Yeah.
They can't get over a hard saying. Many of his disciples leave,
Just
John
walk away.
6:66.
Yeah, bro.
And then he turns to his handpicked and says, do y'all want to go too? Like, he ain't worried about, he don't even explain the parable until the Last Supper.
Right.
This is my body.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This is my blood. It's a year and a half later. So if you can't stick around for a hard saying, if a 90-second soundbite can get you to change your whole perspective of me,
Right.
you were never meant to be.
Never.
And that's fine. There's no I just don't have that bop of that vitriolic kind of like these haters out. That's not even hating, it's preference.
Preference.
Right? I'll never forget, obviously it's before I got married, I was living in LA and Crenshaw was every Sunday.
Yeah.
Like we was gonna go to we was gonna try to do what we do.
Yeah.
So Venice Beach all day and then we hitting Doolins or M&M's in the evening and then we cruising Crenshaw to 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I see this girl at Roscoe's in the parking lot. Fine. I'm like, and the parking lot's crowded. I'm weaving through, like I gotta get to the girl. You know what I'm saying? Before the other homies see her.
Right.
I need first dibs. I'm trying to cut through her. Cut to her. I see her, and then as I'm getting closer,
Yeah, bruh.
I turned around.
I'm done. I'm out.
I'm done.
I'm out.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just unattractive to me.
Yeah. Not my preference.
It's not my preference. I can't have a smoky girl.
No.
Huh? I want her to be smoldering.
Yeah.
I don't want her to be smoky.
I don't want her to be smoky.
Huh? I don't want her to be smoky. I'll take a smoldering woman. I won't take a smoky one.
Yeah, that's different.
Preference.
Yeah, bro.
So okay, cool. This season of the pod, fully integrated Tim, you getting words that you didn't get prior to me code switching. I was still doing the church code switch thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know what? That's just not my preference. I can't listen to those words. I don't like that tone, and I can't be around for that. I respect that.
Yeah.
Because that's a preference thing.
Yeah.
But then when you try to make everybody become what your preference is, now that's a little mission that seems a little bit more. That's you've turned into a crusader for what?
Yeah, it's self-serving.
It's self-serving.
Yeah, no, very much so.
Yeah.
Man, I've been strategic but intentional to start either saying certain things or posting certain things to push the narrative forward.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'm posting a photo of me toasting wine with a friend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, somebody's gonna leave.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. I'm still getting in.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna be worshiping the Lord.
I'm gonna be there in eternity.
I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm okay if you leave.
A glass of wine is not synonymous with drunkenness.
Right, at all. But the judgment of it and the fear of it is where I don't want to live.
I don't want to live there.
I don't want to live. And honestly, excuse me, what ends up happening is the concern of their judgment and fear makes me create false scenarios in my head of what their judgment and fear will look like.
That's correct.
So now I'm living off of the fear of a made up image.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, well, I'm serving an idol.
Right.
I am currently bowing to the idol of a made up image. So I can't live that way. I got to dip. I can't do that no more. So
I never even considered that.
you create a false idol. In that moment, you create a false idol to live for when you start creating ideas and narratives of what other people think or say about you. And you end up submitting to their understanding, their perspective, their desires, their judgments, and not the Lord's. If I know Scripture says that, if I know how Scripture defines drunkenness, why am I letting them dictate?
I agree.
So now I become submissive to them and whatever version of them I've created.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good on that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I think Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel would be canceled in our culture.
Out of there, bro.
Right?
They be out of there.
Because how are you going to explain the Lord told me to walk around butt naked?
Yeah.
Right? We're going to say, Ezekiel, Isaiah, you trying to thirst trap niggas.
Yeah, bro.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you're lewd, you're crude, but that was literally a prophetic sign of the judgment that was coming against Israel. Right?
Yeah.
But how does that look in real time?
We live in a world currently where the idea of being monolithic is safe and holy. Safety equals holiness. This is my own personal belief. American Christianity is way more about the don'ts than the do's. There's way more fear around
Correct.
what you shouldn't do.
Correct.
Instead of around the grace and glory of what is possible.
That's good.
And so because we live with fear first,
Yeah.
you can't do that, that's sin. You can't do that, you might sin. You
Right.
can't do that because you may make someone else sin.
Right.
So now out of all of the fears of what is possible, I am constrained by fear.
Yeah.
And we start there with our faith.
Yeah.
And faith will never grow or be anything when fear is the foundation.
Yeah.
So I can look at someone who says, well, God said this is what I should do. And I could spend my energy judging, critiquing, debunking, and all of that. Or I could just go, I don't know what God told that person, and go live my life. I'm not going to bring my kids around you, but that's not going to make me stop. You may really believe that.
Yeah, for sure.
Go do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You're not harming me. You're
Yeah.
not putting us in any danger. So
Right.
it's the same thing with, I was talking with a friend last night. It's the same thing with language for me.
Yeah.
So I do Christian hip hop. I do Christian music, period.
Yeah.
I don't plan to ever curse in my music.
Yeah.
Although I know that at some point there are certain curse words that fit the moment
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah, for
they
sure.
fit very well.
Yeah.
But the way I teach my children, there's no such thing as bad words.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are adult words.
That's right.
Bad words, when you communicate it in that regard, teach children that they're bad for using bad words. I never want to manipulate my children into thinking they're bad
Right.
because they did a bad word.
Right.
The other thing I don't want them to do is hear an adult use a word that only adults can say
Right.
and call them bad for doing it.
Right.
Because now you're being judgmental of them
Right.
and you're creating a false narrative about them.
Right.
And you're basically creating this idea that because I didn't say it, I'm better.
Right.
And it treats language like a weapon now.
Right.
And so what I tell them, there are adult words.
Yeah.
And there are words that children can't say.
Yeah.
An adult says it because he or she has the maturity
Right.
to handle it responsibly.
That's right.
You don't.
Right. Exactly.
And on top of that,
It's really true.
Because they are adult words, when children use them, it is offensive to adults.
Right.
There are things that you cannot do. You get
Right.
in my car with my keys and put it in drive,
Right.
I am offended.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
on your head.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
You don't have the maturity or responsibility to handle this.
That's right.
So you don't get it.
Right.
America says 21 is the legal age to have of maturity to
Right.
be able to handle alcohol.
Yeah.
You can't have it other than
Right. Absolutely.
that. There is no way I'm going to communicate to my children, it's a bad word, you bad for doing it,
Right.
you can't do it.
Right. For sure.
I want them to understand the difference of that,
Yep.
the subtle difference, but
Yeah.
the difference of you said an adult word and you're not an adult. Are you an adult?
Yeah.
It's visible to them. I am not an adult.
Right, absolutely.
So you shouldn't say it.
That's right.
But if I go, you said a bad word, they're like, oh, I messed up.
Yeah.
Well, now who gets to qualify what bad is and how mess up looks? They're going to go off on their own and do it for themselves.
Right, for sure.
And then now there's no dialogue around it.
Yep.
So I'm like, here are the adult words.
Yep.
I have many friends in my life who use adult words.
Yeah.
When my kids hear it, the last thing I want them to do is judge them
Yep.
or consider language in a certain way based on their childhood outlook.
Right.
Their youthful outlook.
Right.
Like, nah, you don't have the maturity to do so.
Right, absolutely.
So I don't communicate in certain ways about language or drinking or certain other things for the sake of right or wrong.
Right.
It's, are you responsible? Did you do it in a responsible way?
Right.
Moving on.
Yeah, that's good.
And for some of it, it's like, that's not my business no way. So
Yeah.
I'm moving on,
Yeah, yeah.
even in that regard.
Yeah, for sure.
But people will, because of societal norms, because of their own hangups and agendas,
Yeah.
because of their own preferences, want to attribute and project their desires on you. And I'm like, I don't live that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Not the integrated me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't live that way.
You said, you actually put the period on it by saying not the integrated me.
Not the integrated me.
There's so much disintegration, and people are speaking from a place of disintegration and dysregulation.
Yeah.
And once I pick up on that, I just have empathy for that.
Very much so.
And I realize that there's nothing I can say, because when you're disintegrated, when you're dysregulated, your cortisol levels are through the roof and everything's foggy.
Everything.
You don't think clear when you're dysregulated. So if you're triggered, I can't even reason with you.
No, not at all.
So I'll just let you have your opinion, and I can walk away from that, and we can be okay.
And that's the best thing for my sanity and yours.
And yours, absolutely.
I get to walk away.
Yeah.
And so my new phrase, shout out my mentor, Tracy, my new phrase is, I'm not available for that. I'm not available for that. And the integrated me is learning to say that to people I've known for 15 years, people I've known for 2 weeks.
That's good.
Hey, I'm not available for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, but I'm not available for that.
Yeah.
Because what we think a good person is gonna vary around this room.
Yeah, it's good.
And at the same time, because we find a few things that we can agree on,
Right.
someone assumes, well, we should agree on everything. And it's like, that's not the case.
That's not the case with you. You don't do that. If you do a family night out, everybody not going to agree on where to go to
for
eat.
food.
Somebody
Yeah.
going to have to
Yeah.
take a L and be like, I guess we're going to Outback.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to want to go to Outback. But this is where we chose. The majority has spoken. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. That's
Yeah,
it.
so if you can't get that consensus in your own family, what makes you think you're going to get it outside of your house?
And so consensus, or the monolithic approach to an idea of consensus, is how we've decided as a society to define what Christianity or agreement looks like.
Yeah.
Unity looks like. And so if you move outside the category, I don't know how to categorize you, so I just have to call you bad. I just get to call you off. Man, you're a problem. And so I disregard you I disregard you not because I'm in a place healthy enough to recognize that's my preference,
Right.
but because to make it official or make it feel okay for me, I have to put a sense of morality to it. Well, you're just wrong, and you're not right. There are things you're sinful. You're not right. You're not moving in God's way, and that's how people operate to put authority behind it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in reality, there's no proof otherwise.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's so arbitrary. Some of it is
very
very arbitrary.
Yeah.
They think it's like very, very scriptural, but it's more arbitrary. Gamaliel said, hey, I don't know if y'all know, but there was a guy named Theudas and a guy named Judas. They thought they were somebody. They had a band of followers.
Yeah.
But then they got killed, and the followers disbanded, and they came of nothing. As it relates to these disciples of Jesus, these apostles, whatever they call themselves, if they're nobodies, then the same thing that happened to Theudas and Judas will happen to them.
Right.
But if they're from God, you got to be careful.
Got to be careful.
Because you might even find yourself fighting against God.
Right.
So some stuff that I don't understand, I just leave it alone, because Jesus said wisdom is proven to be right by its results. So sometimes you just got to let some time play out.
Right.
And then you realize, like, oh, you know what? What I thought about this person was right. I don't feel good about it.
Right.
Because, dang, that hurts the whole body. If you know what I mean? If it's like, man, I think there's something sus going on over there. And then it's found out, I don't feel good. Like, ha, ha, ha.
Right.
Another one for me. You know, I'm
Yeah.
right. My morality meter is
Yeah.
on point. It's calibrated correctly.
Right.
But then other times you might be like, you know what? I'll never understand, bro or sis. And a lot of people come to Jesus. Like, there's authentic conversion, and
Yes.
there's a faith. Maybe they have a weird way of doing it.
Right.
Maybe that's not my cup of tea. I would never do it that way.
At all.
But the results speak for themselves. Thank God the kingdom is being advanced. You know what I mean?
No,
and
that's
who
real.
and who all said it was going to happen the way we like it
At
with
home.
our formula? That's crazy.
Man, when I go out of town, we're not a phone family. Like, I don't talk on the phone long.
Yeah.
I'm not a phone person.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I feel you.
text me.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
But where my kids are concerned, I'm like, no, I want to make the time.
For sure.
And they're not phone people. They're like, I don't need to be on the phone. I want to go be on the game. I want to do
Right.
something else.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, we're going to take time. But whenever I travel on a Sunday, I hit them up and I sit with, we pray, we talk for a moment.
Yeah.
But with my oldest, I try to do a devotional.
Yeah.
So yesterday we did our devotional on 1 Corinthians 15. One of the second Bible verse I memorized as a Christian was 1 Corinthians 15:33. Bad company, do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals.
Good.
When I was told that verse, it was given to me as the idea of, like, don't hang with bad people
Right.
because they're going to mess you up.
Right.
Even though the statement rings true, in context of that verse, it's not as applicable.
Right.
The verse, when I was showing it to my son, I was like, there were people in this church who were hanging with Corinthians, and the Corinthian people were saying the resurrection of the body is wrong. It'll just be resurrection of the soul. And Paul is like, don't be deceived.
Right.
Not because of the disagreement between is it a resurrection of body or soul, but because they think because the body doesn't matter, they abuse their body.
Correct. That's the context.
It has
That's
nothing
beautiful.
to do with, hey, man, their doctrine's wrong and your doctrine's right.
Right.
Don't lose your doctrine.
Right.
It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with, in the Corinthian community, because they don't believe the body matters long-term for eternity, then they're just going to do whatever with their body.
Yeah.
And now y'all are falling into sin and being corrupted
Right.
because you're letting their ideas of the body not mattering
Yep.
affect you.
Yes, good.
So now you just going to do whatever with your body.
Yeah.
So I'm telling my son, like, the body matters, bro.
Yeah, that's really
what you
good.
do with your body matters.
That's good.
So when you hang with certain people and they like, man, it don't matter, man, we could just do whatever toward the young lady or with this food or drinking this or
Yeah.
smoking. It's like, your body matters,
Yeah,
bro.
for
So
sure.
just know that God cares about your body, not just your soul.
That's good, bro.
He cares about the whole of who you are.
Yeah.
So in giving that understanding, I'm like, I'm not going to argue with you on whether or not doctrine for you is the same as doctrine for me.
Yeah.
You going to hold to what you hold to, I'm going to hold what I hold to.
Yeah.
But the outworking of it is where I go, if what I'm saying causes you to feel like I became an enemy,
Yeah.
then that's an issue with your faith.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
it's good.
doing what I'm doing to make you an enemy.
Right. For sure.
I'm doing what I'm doing to be clear on to live the best integrated life I can.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to care about the body.
Yep.
If you say I'm stupid for caring about the body and
Yep.
you want to make me into an enemy because of that,
Yeah.
that's your issue, not
Yeah.
mine.
That's good. That's good, bro. Self-awareness is such a big deal around here.
Man, that's beautiful.
So for
I
you
love
to
it.
say that
that's
is-
my music.
Yeah,
that's
man.
where I am, bro. That's where I am.
I
So,
always tell people a self-conscious person is conscious of self at the expense of everyone around them. A self-aware person is aware of self and everyone else around them. And that's just a I know I'm aware of me in context to the company I'm in.
yes, very much so,
So
bro.
now I'm attuned to me and you, as opposed to just, is my sweater okay? Is my pants okay? Does he like me? Am I talking too long? I'm hungry. does anybody hear my stomach growl? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
that's
you
a
become-
tormenting way to live.
You become self-conscious.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you can't get out of yourself. You can't get out of seeing you.
No.
Yeah.
And the thing that started me on the journey of becoming more self-aware or caring about that being a concern was when I started to realize it's a very countercultural statement for Christians, but when I started to look within is when I started to find God more. Everyone else tells you it's got to be when you look outward. And I'm like, no, when I started to understand myself more, I started to understand the dynamic of my relationship with him and where I was lacking, where I was benefiting, where I was growing, and I got to receive more in that regard. And then working from inward outward, I was a better friend, a better person in the community, a better whatever version of myself. Playing that game of like, well, I just got to keep looking to what everybody says about me, and then I'll understand myself more. They're not in your skin.
That's right.
They're not with you 24/7.
That's right.
They can only speak to the version that they know when they're with you.
Right.
And some of them are intuitive and perceptive. Some of them have discernment. Some of them may be prophets in their own
Right,
right.
for sure.
Nevertheless, going inward to say, who am I? Is where I started to find, oh, this is where God is in a real way, because he's always been with me.
Yes.
Okay, God, I've been looking to everybody else and I've been getting their version of you.
Yes.
But who are you fully in line with what I am?
Yeah.
And I started to grow in him more.
Yeah.
And wanted to grow more.
Yeah.
So I was like, now that I'm looking inward, I'm like, okay, well, I need to be more self-aware.
Yes.
I've got to grow in that
Yes.
in a real way.
Yes.
Because without self-awareness, you become self-conscious.
That's right.
And now self-conscious is driven by everyone else.
That's right.
Because you're just aware of them.
That's right.
You're only focused on them.
Yeah.
And you become self-conscious.
Yeah.
But when you're self-aware, you're focused on self. And like you said, then I'm aware of everybody else.
Bro.
So.
Nah, but dude,
Nah, it's real, bro. That's where I am.
I couldn't have had a better answer to that Muse question.
Wow.
Like, that is like, we live there.
Amen.
That's
you, bro.
every time we fire this whole thing up.
I love that.
We just trying to be aware of self and help everybody.
Yeah, man.
Bro, thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Thank you for making today, like, I don't know what you had to alter or whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you for just showing up and just giving us you.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
Honored for real, bro.
Like,
this is you have a to give you your flowers. You have a unique gifting in connection that comes across very well.
Thank you.
To the viewer. So much so that oftentimes, and I guarantee if you ask the people in the chat, they'll be like, oh, I feel like I know him. I feel like I'm cool with him.
Yeah.
And it's natural to you. And people will say that about me, but I don't know it, but I don't see it. So maybe you're aware of it. I don't know if you see it or not. So I was like, I just want to call it out, because most times people don't see it the same way.
For sure.
Or to the level that other people do.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, I see it.
Wow.
Like, there is a natural inclination to just say, he cool, man. I'll rock with him. I'm gonna just sit with him. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna hang. And it's that's drawing in its own regard.
Thank you,
man. It's alluring in its own regard.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm like, that is a God-given thing. It's not cap. It's not you sitting here gassing something that ain't real.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It's like, I'm just being genuinely me.
Yep.
And somehow people are interested and drawn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, that's what it is.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, bro.
No, that encourages me, man. That's what I'm trying to curate.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes from the 26 years of therapy that I have just been like.
That's amazing.
Because again, 28 years being a believer in Jesus, but them first 2 years, them altar calls, I don't know if they purposely didn't work on me, so I would go to therapy.
Yeah.
But them two years of altar calls, I was like, nigga, I came down for lust. I came down for violence. I came down for stuff that didn't even have to do with me. If anybody needs to get healed of back pain, I'm like, nigga, let me get down
my
there. My back don't hurt, but let me go down there.
Let me stand in the gap.
And then after all of that, bro, I was like, maybe okay. The church I was at Potter's house, and they had a counseling center, and I was like, let me just go sit down with bro. And I sat down, and I got more out of that first session than I had out of the 2 years of altar calls. I
Say
said
that.
because again, once I found out, oh, is that what's going on in me?
Mm-hmm.
Then I was aware, and I could like catch it and be like, I can't do that no more. And
Yeah.
I'm being petty here. I'm being selfish there. And so, yeah, man. Yeah.
Bro, it's real. It's
Yeah.
real. Now, the other side of the coin, when you gain self-awareness, is having to live with the things that were done when you were not.
I'm just so glad you brought that up.
I didn't know that was going to happen, but I
Yes.
became more self-aware, and I'm like, oh, I did a lot of horrible things, and I caused a lot of pain, and I didn't know that I was doing it, but I did it.
Yes, sir.
And not to make light of what's going on in the world weather-wise, but Hurricane Tadashi came through here and destroyed some stuff.
Yes, sir.
And I got to go back and make amends if possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's
you
not-
got to hand out some FEMA checks.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. With the quickness.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
With the quickness. And sometimes it ain't just the check. It's like, I got to be here to build too.
That's
Cool,
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I got to
yeah.
be here to repair. Got
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
And there are places where I know I've gone to try to make amends, and
Yeah.
it ain't happening.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, and Eric Mason,
Yes.
E-May said
Yes,
something
sir.
one time. He came to Denton and spoke at a church here.
Yeah.
I went to listen, and he said something one time that was very profound. He was like, just because you all better don't mean everybody else all better.
Facts.
He was like, you all healed,
Facts.
but that don't mean your healing fast tracks everybody else's.
Absolutely correct.
The results of what you were ain't gonna just go away overnight.
Absolutely correct.
Even though you feel like it just did for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people don't understand that, and they're like, "Man, I'm doing better now. Come on, let it go."
Right.
And
Nah.
it's like you can't do that to
Yeah.
them. You can't ask them to do that.
Juliet and I have done marital counseling pre and post
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
And when we are with a couple where one of the spouses has committed adultery,
Mm-hmm.
the spouse that either gets caught and or confesses, there's relief. There's a massive amount of relief because they've been living this secret, duplicitous life, and
Yeah.
it's finally come out. Either they had the courage to either say it or they were exposed. Either way, it's out.
It's out now.
It's out. So there's like, and they're like, hey, I apologize. I repent. I'm doing my work now, blah, 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 blah. But then they want the spouse to have the relief that they now have. No, you just transferred. That feeling, it's not the same feeling, but in terms of weight of a burden, you carry the weight of deception and lies. They now carry the weight of betrayal.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And that's a heavier weight
That's a heavy weight, bro.
than your deception and lies. And the dismissive, how come you're not over it? I apologize. How long you gonna hold this over my head? Ain't nobody trying to vindictively hold nothing. But you didn't break trust, you shattered it.
Yeah.
So now we're not gonna even get the same vase.
No.
There's too many shards of glass to try to. We're not even getting a vase no more. We're gonna get a mosaic of something else,
Something else.
but we're not gonna get the same thing.
not at all.
And so even if we make it, this not about to be the same thing that it was because of this breach
Very much so.
of trust.
Very much
And
so.
like trying to help people understand the fact that, to your point, okay, I'm self-aware of the pain that I caused. And I have to be okay with the fact that some people are not in a place to forgive. Other people are not in a place to forget. Like they forgave, but they can't forget. And others, hey, they might not be in a place that they want to even, hey, the memory of what you did supersedes the healed version of you. And so I'm
In
not
every
going
way.
to, you know what I mean? I'm just not going to be able to rock with you.
Right.
You got to be prepared for all of that.
All of that.
Yeah.
And that is the lesson that I'm learning now as I come around toward more self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, when I was in my depression and grief, and man, when I was dealing with a lot of anger issues and a lot of brokenheartedness and a lot of mental health anguish and struggles,
Yeah.
I was not aware of everything that I was doing
Yep.
because I was not as aware as I am now.
Right.
And so as I go back, I almost have to go, like, there's parts of me that's like, I don't even feel this because I didn't know I was doing it.
Right.
So I don't know if I can relate fully to where you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an empath, so I feel the pain you feel.
Right.
But
Right.
at the same time, I'm just like, it's different when you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar.
Facts.
You're like, yeah, you got me.
Facts.
All right, I know now.
Yeah.
But when you're sleepwalking and you know you're sleepwalking and then you just put your hand in there, they can say, hey, look at the video. We taped it. Like, we filmed it.
Right.
You did it.
Right.
But you still don't carry the guilt of it, the
Right.
stress of it.
Right.
Because you weren't aware.
That's right.
Oftentimes what I've experienced is going back to people, their wrestle with moving past it a lot of times is because of a lack of acknowledgement, but also a lack of your being able to own it. And I'm like, I don't know how to own what I wasn't aware of.
Right.
And you hit a stalemate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you have to find a place to kind of figure out how to move forward in
Yep.
that regard.
Yep.
But there are some people who are like, well, I don't think moving forward is happening.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's heartbreaking for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
like, but again, I don't need to throw my heartbreak on them.
No.
And that's what we tend to do. And then we want to self-righteously force them into a category of, well, you just not trying to follow Jesus.
Right.
You ain't just loving the Lord. You ain't really
We
living
weaponize
right.
our spirituality, which is manipulation.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, man,
So good, bro.
I can't just pretend like what happened didn't happen.
Right.
And at the same time, I have to know how to hold that
Yeah.
while at the same time holding the progress of my self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, the two can exist.
Yeah.
The two things can be true.
That's right.
I made mistakes.
Yep.
I am someone different.
Yep.
Those mistakes are still true of who I am.
Right.
But they don't define who I am
Facts.
now.
Facts.com.
And it's like, dang, man, I got to live with this.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that
Yeah.
when I decided to go on this journey.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just so focused on, I'm tired of hurting.
Yeah.
I'm tired of faking. I'm
Yeah.
tired of being a person that lives for other people and not for the Lord,
Yeah.
and not for myself, or
Yeah.
not for the realness.
Yep.
And then I look up and I'm like, oh, if I'm getting real, that means people finna get real with me. And they finna tell me what I did,
Yep.
how I affected certain things.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, that sucks. All right, well, there's apologies.
Yeah.
There's offering of how to make amends.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
asking questions on what can be done.
Yeah.
But for me to just say, man, I'm better. You need to be better with it. Or for me to assume, for me to unlovingly engage like it's all good
Right.
and not let them be able to exist where they are with
Right.
it
Absolutely.
is offensive and a disservice.
It is.
So I'm like, yeah, I gotta chill. I
Yeah,
can't do
bro.
that. I can't do that.
No, bro. Man, you doing great work, bro.
Thank you,
I'm
man.
telling you, because that is, I had to do that with so much with Juliet.
Yeah.
Because I came into the marriage with a porn addiction. I came into the marriage lying.
Yeah.
I came into because that's all I knew. You know what I mean? And then I didn't want to hurt her. And then the trick of the enemy, especially around addiction and all this kind of stuff, is like, I don't want to tell my spouse because it's gonna hurt their feelings. But they're gonna find out and get hurt anyway. Right? But we wind up fragilizing them,
Yeah.
thinking that we can actually do this without them.
Yeah.
And you actually can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So oh bro, we could go another hour. dude.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
nerding out.
Yeah, nah, that's
Hey
real.
dog, I love you, man.
Thank you, bro.
I love you.
Love
and
you
I'm
too.
so happy about where you are in your life.
Thank you, bro.
You have had such a tremendous amount of loss
Yeah.
that you've experienced, and I just commend you on doing your work,
Thank you, bro.
not to make that your address.
Mm-hmm.
That you could have easily turned any one of those losses, let alone all of them, into Haran
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
and missed the promised land.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I was on my way there, but I'm going to stay here.
But I'm gonna stay here.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
no,
I
that's real.
commend you for that, man.
Thank you, bro.
I celebrate the work you're doing.
I receive that, and at the same time live with this level of like, oh, but I know it's not done. But I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm definitely aware that there is a place of peace I'm coming to,
Yes, sir.
as I also sit in the anguish of the melee that happened around me.
Yep.
And so I'm just like, all right, Lord, I need a miracle.
Yeah.
I need a miracle.
Oh, bro. We'll talk more offline. But I promise you.
Yeah, bro.
After you've done everything you can, that's when he does what he wills.
Amen. Amen.
But it's never before you've done everything you can, right? Noah built that whole ark. God closed the door. That's the miracle of the whole ark.
That's it, bro.
There was no way them 8 people had the strength.
To lift and close that. Not at all.
That was the miracle of the whole ark.
That was all. That was it. I was like, the blueprint didn't have plans to pull that up. It was never there.
It was never there.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's still a God moment.
It's still a God moment.
You need the miracle.
That's right.
And that I honestly feel like I'm in that space in
Yeah.
so many ways.
Yeah.
Bro. Career, family, personal, friends, social. I'm like, all right, God, I'm almost at my wit's end.
Yeah, for sure.
I need a miracle.
Yeah. It's
need it.
coming.
So
I believe it for you.
Amen, bro.
Bro, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I'm
I love
honored.
you.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
man.
bro.
This was beautiful. Okay, y'all. Tadashi has blessed us something real good. I'm super hyped. And if this doesn't motivate you to go do your soul work after this, I don't know what to tell y'all.
Right.
Y'all know why we here. Y'all know why we do what we do in the basement. Fully seen, fully heard, fully known, fully loved. And even if you're disagreed with, even if you don't get full agreement, integration can come to you and vulnerability can be your default setting. I love y'all, and until next time, peace.
Please don't push me.
Please don't push me, but y'all push B. Now we got dwellers from Cali to Flatbush B. Now they got heat on their feet that say press B. And now we so deep in the street, y'all can't stress me. Can't curse me, then bless me. I'm crucifying my flesh, that's less me. SAT'd from preaching, can't test me. Atheists are now believing, that bless me. Yeah, we got the basement replacing any of those worldly pursuits that y'all chasing, any of those trials and tests that y'all facing, any of the relationships that y'all changing. We rearranging, making the shame shift, giving Satan back what's his. That's the blame shift. Rise up and walk commands. That's the lame shift. Cheat codes for living this life. That's the game shift. All on Yeshua, man. The rest is manure, man. I'm dying daily, so I rise up a purer man. Pressing B daily, so my sins looking fewer, man. Washing the blood, so my sins down the sewer, man. Yeah, so press B with me, and let's let whatever gon' be just be. Yeah, so press B with me, and let's let whatever gon' be just be.